Welcome, everybody. Thank everybody for being here. We're just glad to be here ourselves. And God's given us a good weather. Probably a hot, rainy again. So, Larry, we're glad to have you and everybody here. So, we're ready to go.
Well, council requested several years ago that they wanted to hear from the department heads and hear directly from them what their requests were. And that's what we're here for today. It's a very busy schedule, it's a very fast schedule, very fast paced, but we will take any and all time we need to take to answer any questions you may have. The budget book you have before you is a draft. Let me emphasize this, that is a draft, it is not the proposed budget. We will develop that budget after we hear from council today. We are on time schedule. We're going to present to you all the proposed budget June 2nd. On June 12th, we will have a public hearing for the budget as required by law. And then on the workshop on the 19th, we will have the adoption of the FY15 budget. The books you have before you today include in the budget what we've been budgeting for retirement for the past, like we did last year. We budgeted 2.7, almost $2.8 million, because our direction was to fix retirement, and the retirement committee will make a presentation on the 2nd, I believe, at the council meeting. And but we did fund what we think is the appropriate amount of money based on the recommendation from the committee. So that's a big increase in your budget. You'll see, or not an increase necessarily, it's at the same level it was last year. You'll see that in there. What you'll also see in your budgets is where all of the bandwidth, telecommunications debt was removed from all the budgets except for SPLOST. Every other fund, general fund, enterprise funds, they paid their full share, and you'll see that in the, it went into the general fund from all the other funds, and then we paid the debt. When we retired, that almost $4 million, that was all paid out of the general fund. So you'll see a big $2 million swing in that budget. Just a quick note, we had a $225,000 increase in health insurance this year. So that's in the budget. That was an increase that we had to accommodate. And I'm not going to take up any more of these guys' time. They're going to be sent from each department that's going to be presenting today. Let's talk about their major changes, if there are any in the budgets, and any capital projects that they'll be working on for FY15. And then if you look in your books, you'll see also our 5-year capital project plan. So one note up front, we did not get the toll road grant for 20th Street. That was a $500,000. Got an email yesterday afternoon that said that we didn't qualify to reapply next time. So, but you'll see that money budgeted in the project plan for FY15. But just to let you know, we do have the $200,000 matching funds there, and we can also look at perhaps using LMIG to redo 20th Street. Having said that, shoot you first up.
You can go ahead and sit down. Larry took all your time. It's all right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Go ahead and get started with the customer service budget presentation. The mission of customer services is to provide timely and efficient service by training dedicated employees. And our vision is to provide the highest quality service to our customers by improving the delivery of service by professional and motivated customer service center representatives. The customer service center actually consists of 5 customer service reps, which 2 are the cashiers, 1 building accounts coordinator, 1 building administrator, myself, and a vacant position that we hope to have filled prior to going back to the mine. The most significant increase in customer service budget this year is the salary. As a result of a recent reevaluation of job descriptions by the Institute of Government, who anticipated a salary increase of about $15,000.
That's across all positions.
They found that they were actually not in the right pay scale, so.
Oh, that's right.
When we did the
corrected
wrong
all
business study.
throughout the system. I got you. Yeah. Everybody familiar with that?
What we have accomplished this year is the implementation of the MS governed billing system, which has basically improved our overall processes. one of the changes is a customer payment transaction in real time. That means a customer can actually walk to City Hall and make a payment, or call over the phone to make a payment, or make a payment on the web, and it hits the account instantaneously. And another is the credit card transaction more efficient now. And we also hired a full-time employee. Previously, this person was a temporary position, so we made that person a full-time employee.
If you're following along in your budget books, this is under the service fund, it's on page 5.
Yeah, Larry, I
Yeah.
looked under that tab, I said, well, I don't see customer service tab.
Flip that page over one more, there's a table of contents there for all the different funds in the service fund. So you flip page 5, you'll be there.
Okay, some of the things that we've accomplished with our new technology has really changed the way that we do business and has resulted in a significant improvement for our customers as well as our staff. And one of the things is the iNova system, which is the cashiering portion, and this is the City Halls. Now keep in mind, other departments use the cashiering as well. Now, this is from July of last year to present, we had 63,280 payments with the iNova system. The IVR system, which is actually where the customer is able to call the phone, the total minutes used from 2013 to now is 20,920 minutes. The total credit card transaction is 2,332, and the transaction balance lookup was $3,547. That means a customer can actually call and if they're over the weekend or after 5, if they want to actually know what their balance is, and if they have lost a bill, they actually call in the system and tell them what their balance is. And the web payments is 11,636 payments. And our bills, we send out about 13,000 bills a month, for a total of about 156,000 per year. Some of the things that we want to accomplish is continue to learn and train on all functions of the MS government building system. There's a lot of things that the system can do, and we're working hard to try to make those changes so that we can improve our customer service even better. The implementation of automated work order system, this will be in conjunction with ESG company where the guys will actually get their work order via a computer versus the paperwork. And of course, we want to provide a more efficient operation and increase our customer satisfaction. Any questions, comments, concerns?
It's not necessarily budget related, but still is. Do we have any kind of tracking system for customer satisfaction? Do we have any kind of like a anything that goes out periodically, or?
We have in the past, we have a survey that we haven't sent out recently.
Right. I just didn't know if there's something on the internet, you know, like on a website or something that you can take a little survey. Because, you know, I'm with you on increasing that customer satisfaction, but it's, you know, you need a kind of a measuring point to start with. You know, so.
Yeah, those are some of the things that we, you know, once we go into the mine, we're gonna try to implement. The staff that was concerned about, you know, things like of that nature, as well as sending out like thank you cards, because we used to do that in the past too, so we're gonna try to bring that back on board as well. Anybody?
So you're asking about the same amount of money, basically?
Just a salary increase.
That's right.
That's actually the feedback, right?
Thanks, Sheila. Next
All right,
on,
Sheila.
Appreciate it.
To the hotel fund, you will see this line item in the hotel fund.
It's about halfway down, DDA contributions.
Chris, you're just in this book, you're gonna give us a presentation.
I don't know what's in the book.
We have the DDA contribution, it's broken out in here.
Which tab is on? Hotel?
That one.
It's a separate.
I see it. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
That next page. That needs to say.
All right, Mr. Tricia,
Good
well,
afternoon, thank you, thanks for having me. As Larry was saying, our funding dollars will come from hotel, motel taxes, and I'm doing the presentation for the Tifton County Main Street Program. Our business model, as you guys know, we have a 7-board membership with the Downtown Development Authority, and they oversee the Main Street program. We have other functions that include our farmers market, and because our department is so small, we depend a lot on volunteers. We do have one full-time position, which is the executive director, and 2 part-time positions within this department. We actually have a janitorial services, or the building service worker, that we temporarily merged with the farmers market coordinator position, just to see how that would work. This is just our Main Street mission. We're hoping to actually revamp and update our mission statement at our next annual retreat. We are actually an accredited Main Street program. We have to follow guidelines through the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Whenever they come down to do our annual assessment, they evaluate us on 4 points. So when you see us identify projects, we're looking at things that include our design, economic restructuring, promotions, and organization. These are just a few things that you'll see in the presentation. These are services that you can come to our office as our public citizen and our customers. And this is what our customer base can actually see within the Main Street program. As you guys know, we are very involved with special events. We do one-on-one consultation with small businesses. We get calls all the time for businesses who are entrepreneurs who are interested in opening business within the city of Tifton. And we are actually able to provide those services. We tell them about the incentives, and we also tell them about the other services that are available throughout the city of Tifton. So some of our accomplishments, some of the things that we've been able to accomplish within this calendar year, we were, as I said earlier, we're actually accredited, we're actually assessed every year by the Department of Community Affairs. They've actually changed their accreditation process. They've made it a little bit harder for you to actually be able to be assessed and accredited. This year, the city of Tifton actually scored an A on our Main Street assessment. Just to see how we measure up with other Main Street programs, there are 96 communities within the state of Georgia that are under the auspices of the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Out of 23 of those communities, they scored A's, and the city of Tifton was one of those communities that scored an A. So we're very excited about that accomplishment. One of the things that I heard Julie Smith and some of the city councilmen asked for the first of the year, or maybe last year, was maybe some workshops to be able to offer to these small businesses. And we were very, very successful with being able to do that. We've offered, we're looking at doing maybe 2 or 3 per year. The first class we offered, we had 40 attendees. So we're able to merge with other businesses, other organizations to offer these training classes. And we're able to offer it where it's quality, affordable training for their employees, that they can actually afford to send their employees to customer service training, things that they may need. And it's very, very affordable. We try to make sure that it's either free or it's affordable. This particular training class was only $5, and they walked away with a certificate. As you guys know, we did some development in terms of streetscape. This is the area that we focused on. We actually got some grant funds through Georgia Department of Transportation. We had $650,000 through Georgia Department of Transportation for these improvements. And we were also able to merge that with a $50,000 USDA grant to assist in paying for some of the lighting. And as you see, these are the developments that took place in that area. One of the return on the investments is that whenever we started this, and for a while, 3rd Street was one of those streets that had a lot of vacancies. On this street, there are no vacancies in this area since we've done streetscape. This is a conceptual drawing of what will happen in the next phase of what we call Streetscape Phase 2. You'll see that the developments will merge or continue from East 3rd Street, or right there beside the DUI school, going down to the gateway. This is just a conceptual drawing that AMAC created for us for some ideas to make those 2 pieces of property merge together. We're hoping to start that particular project pretty soon. We have 12 consultants, I think, that responded to our RFQ for that particular area. Most of the projects that we identify, we are looking at our master plan. The Downtown Development Authority does have a 20-year master plan. So when we identify projects that we're working on, we're not just thinking about this, we're actually consulting with our master plan when we identify the projects that we're targeting on. Upcoming projects and upcoming funding sources for some upcoming projects are the safety loop. We have $700,000, which we're continuing streetscape going north, leaving from Bromley Way, as far as we can go with those $700,000. Another grant that is pending is an additional $50,000 from a gateway grant that we're also waiting to hear from. If we get that, we'll merge that with that $750,000, and we'll be able to do some additional services and streetscape improvements there. We also have another $500,000, which will take care of 3rd Street and Commerce Way. And those areas, hopefully we're gonna be able to go south, which is past Shady Lane. As you guys know, those are some areas that need some improvements as well. So our work plan includes coming up, Streetscape Phase 2B. We're hoping that those dollars, as I said, will allow us to get some new streetscape features, some new lighting, and we will connect the pedestrian walkway. And also we'll do some landscaping on 3rd Street, on Commerce Way and some other areas. One of the things that I've heard the DDA mention is working with a consultant to identify a design master plan. What the design master plan will do, as you guys have heard, Colony Bank is coming to the downtown area. When we have other businesses which are coming to the downtown area and they are interested in knowing what landscaping opportunities are available, how can they continue the continuity with what we already have, they can actually come and pick up this master plan and be able to see what we've already done in other parts of the area. So the entire downtown looks like one consistent plan. So we're hoping that Colony Bank is one example, but we're also hoping that we can do this over by Bromley Way, over by My Lady Baby, where streetscape funds stop, the master plan opportunities will continue. Maintenance plan, we're looking at, the Downtown Development Authority is looking at some consultant services, some ancillaries, which is some additional cleanup services that we can talk about, and ideas for maintenance and cleanup and that kind of thing. One of the things that they're also interested in picking up, and I hear them talking about this, I think we're going to talk about this, Mayor, in our next meeting. We're going to continue with our wayfinding signage. And I see you looking at your clock, so we're about to get. Just let you see, we've done the gateways. We're looking at continuing with our directional signs. Promotional events, as you guys know, we've done the tours. And these are just pictures of our tours. And Hometown Holidays is one of the biggest events that we do. We've asked the City of Tifton for $64,122. That is the same amount of money that you funded us last year. We've also asked for $5,000, which is the same amount of money that you funded us last year for Hometown Holidays. We're encouraging people to support small businesses. It helps to sustain jobs. Are there any questions? Okay, I have some copies. You need that?
I will,
How many?
round the table here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I have a question, Ken.
Yes, sir.
All right, the electrical expense I-75 lights.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Electrical expense I-75 lights.
That's not.
That's not us,
there.
that's curious.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking
It's,
at wrong.
no, you're on, it's on the cover.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You see it?
Thank you, Chris. Good job, appreciate it.
While Jessica's been set up, I have failed in my duties. I need to thank the finance staff for all the work and the hours they've put in for the past months. Between budget revision for FY14 and creating a new budget for FY15 and getting all this put into a format that you guys can just halfway understandable, they have worked numerous hours, late into the evenings and weekends and so forth and so on. So thank you, Lois, and all of your staff for all the fine work y'all did. Harry, don't go to sleep, I know you're tired. And then, of course, all of our department heads that been feeding them information for months now. And I gave you,
Okay, I'm going to discuss the city council and management department budget. In our department, of course, we have the mayor and city council, the city manager, city clerk, and the assistant to the city manager and the mayor. Our duties are.
That's under general fund.
The first one's going to be in general, the next, management is service. So when I get to the service one, can you tell them again?
Page.
Page 3.
Okay, our department oversees the operations of the entire municipal government. We ensure that the general obligation laws, policies, and staff are functioning correctly. We handle public relations and public information, grant and special project administration, preparation of council meeting agenda and minutes, record retention, contract management, and we handle the business, alcohol, and regulatory license and permits. This year, we processed 163 new business applications. That includes businesses that also may change ownership, or, a relatively new business in town. 413 regulatory permits. Those are contractors mainly that come into the city that don't have a business in the city but are doing work within the city. And 1,465 business license renewals and 85 alcohol license. And the first one you're on that page. The main increase for this was, there was a decrease of $2,700. And there was, the only change that I really made was to local travel. We increased that by $1,000, but we just took some money from other places that had decreased.
That's the Mariana is gone, but you know, we fuss about us going anywhere to do anything. And I'm glad we kind of used out on that.
Yeah, and we put some, this year we went to, but went to both Atlanta and planning on Savannah, so there's some additional money for that, planning for next year to go Mayor's Day and the annual conference. So that's the total when you're looking at it line by line. And the service fund, this is, the management of the service pages.
You're happy to go to the service fund.
under service fund tab.
Page 1.
Page 1, okay.
Each
Yeah,
of them.
thank you. I don't know. Alrighty, there was, a decrease in the retirement. Of course, Larry already said the bandwidth was that was the largest item that changed this year. And auto allowance was taking out because we had it listed twice. We had it listed as vehicle allowance and auto allowance, so we just took that line out completely because we didn't need that. So mainly the only change in this budget is for the debt service that we had last year. So that's $102,000. And then the capital projects that we are mainly working on, just our department, is telecom debt retirement will be continued at a SLOSS this year. And the mine renovations, which are set to be completed October-ish. So by the end of the year, we should have all that. The end of this physical year, we should have it all out. And then the LiDAR, we have it planned for this year. They're gonna make do, and candle way extension.
What is LiDAR?
That's mapping. They're gonna fly over and do that. That's the tax assessor's office.
We don't need to lay it out. Tell us which day that is, we're gonna be out in the backyard. They'll think I'm a beach whale out there.
What office equipment are y'all looking at getting? They all got budgeted $6,000 for office equipment. Right here. Just maintenance repair for office equipment?
That's mainly our copier that we have at City Hall, and we have to pay a maintenance charge per copy each month.
When we go back to mine, that's gonna all be reconfigured, so
Yeah.
they have to.
But right now, we have one downstairs for us and customer service.
Okay.
That's mainly what that's for.
So then customer service, they use that, but it comes out of this fund, so that works.
We're both in the service fund.
Okay.
The cost of it comes out of our fund, and then they reimburse our fund.
Okay, that's what I was asking, okay.
She has to pay the bill every month.
Well,
So,
just make it.
Should be all paid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the maintenance, repair, $1,000, yeah. That's cheap, it's the interest.
The Camden Way, does everyone know what the Camden Way extension is? You can't play. The Camden Way extension, if y'all know, on Second Street, out there with the old Burger King and the Chinese restaurant and the Thunderbird Motel, used to be Thunderbird Motel. Y'all know the area we're talking about now? Behind that, there's a developer that's going to put in a $2 million project. It's gonna be a Honda motorcycle dealership.
You want to put it in,
Sir?
still quiet.
Everybody counts on
It might be on the quiet, but it's public, it's not the information.
Yeah, it's around.
It said it's still quiet.
Okay, well, don't tell anybody I said that. Just because it's got Camden Way extension in our project, special
Okay.
project.
All right.
I put it up there on the thing, so click on it.
Robert Reed is in New York, walking across the stage, receiving his second master's degree, I believe it is.
Wow, that's great.
So I get the pleasure of doing the theater.
What the hell?
Wait a minute, see, I already
Jessica, it's helping sideways. It's just tip theater. It's almost the last
Yeah,
one.
sit down. Stay there.
They did it again.
What are you pushing?
I'm pushing the arrow.
Push this. To the right.
Pushing the wrong button. All right. Now Robert Reed's back in the middle.
As you all know,
All right, I would have a send you money for you.
are you on the same page with us now?
Oh, I am now.
Okay. Just some of the highlights, Robert Reed asked me to come out to you, we no longer have custodial service. We have building supervisors like we use at the senior center, and he's doing a lot of stuff down there with volunteers. So that's helping us out a little bit there, and I don't know what we're gonna do with our marquee, we really need to update it somehow. That's not in the budget though. Overtime hours, 4,500, budget request 5,000 for, all these, what was that thing, y'all, steel magnolias and all the overtime we had to do for that. And, I understand it's a great show. Increase in events for 2015, and the guys that are working these shows are gonna be working more often than they are now. Professional services. Bring in big names costs you about 17,000, 25,000. Travis Street, we called his group, they can do it for about 25,000 if they're passing through. Theater dance shows between 2 and 8K, royalties on the community theater productions, 300 to 1,000. And, to pay for those shows that we may or may not be getting in. Increase from 4 community productions to 5 in 2015. Are you starting again? No? One major artist every quarter. We would like to have somebody come in that can draw a big crowd at least once a quarter. And budget's 26,000 in revenues. We're gonna request 30,000, the difference is 3,400. We need increased advertising. 2014 budget's 10,000, that's $2,000 increase in advertising.
Skip a slide.
What else, Skip?
Remind me of the city capacity.
600.
19 or something like
Okay, I got 612 out here, 19 out here, 23, 620.
that. Six something.
600, about 610.
Gotta put him in the city.
Anyhow, budget request for general stuff. Oh, by the way, you asked me to mention that the Tifton County High School shut down their drama program, theater program. They gave us all of their props.
Oh, man.
And
They're gonna be working with Robert Reed too, sending folks our way, those that are continuing.
I'm gonna tell you guys, Robert Reed has done a tremendous job of getting out to the community and getting community involvement in that theater, which is what, and it's a full-time job. We told Robert Reed when he came in, said, you do not understand how difficult it is to market this theater in Tifton, Georgia. And he understands now. He has busted his hump trying to get this thing off the ground. General office supplies up, 2,500. And then the attic renovations request, there's actually an attic in there. If you go down into the basement, you look up and you have to get on a chair to get to the access to the attic. And we're gonna fix that. And he said if we go in there and put some shelves up there, that there'll be plenty of room to store all the props and everything we got from the theater, from the high school. Theater sound phase 1's completed. We need another 5,000 next year to complete phase 2. Phase 1 was the sound board. That's 32 channel board. Is that right, Steve? So the next phase is going to be speakers. Any questions? Did I skip something? Okay. Alicia?
The $274,000 for 2014 budget.
Yes.
Now, we made repairs to that theater. Was that, did we use 2013 money for that? I see you got a carryover of this money, so where are you using that money for?
Remember on the basement completed? And then we had German come in, Steve Macon, which is the contractor that German uses. We had a waterproof basement. Steve looked at it and said, no, you don't need a waterproof basement, you need to waterproof the entire outside of the building, the brick. In between stucco and all three sides on the back alley side of the building and waterproofing the basement, it was $400 and something thousand, and yes, German was gonna pick up the 72,000 of it and roll the rest of it forward to do the stucco part. Now, having said that, Mr. Scott Murphy and the ESG team have been having some demonstrations on how to waterproof manholes, our sewer manholes, and they've been very successful with some things that you drill a hole through the concrete, put a zerk fitting in there, and pump it up with a high pressure grease gun. That's oversimplified, but this material will expand 29 times its volume, and it stops up the holes. What y'all have, Scott? 13 gallon a minute manhole stopped up?
Actually, it's probably closer to 60 or 70 gallons a minute, and we were able to resolve it with about $70 worth of material in about 30 minutes.
So it's like using a can of the great stuff.
It really is quite similar to
It's
that.
not the great stuff.
But we
Okay,
did
so
roll
back
it.
to my question though, the 274 is carry over for those repairs?
Yes.
And that's what government's not funding, is that the other funded for?
That's correct. Don't hit the top.
Don't hit the top.
Get it right away.
Okay. Oh.
Hello, everybody. This is the 2015 budget hearing for the Senior Service Department. Yes.
This is some of the
General fund, okay. It's different.
page 14. Are you going to talk about senior center first?
It's all together.
That's,
Isn't it? It's 13, 14?
No, it's 14, sorry. 14 and 15 is how we have
Okay. Our mission, of course, is to promote the emotional, social, and physical well-being of our older adults and continued enrichment of their lives of the seniors in our Tifton and Tift County.
ask it again. I thank y'all.
Okay. Vision, to be among senior centers that serve as a gateway to the nation's aging network, connecting older adults to vital community service that can help them stay healthy, joyful, and independent. In other words, stay home longer. Now, there's a new definition for seniors. Anyone between 55 and 60 are considered boomers now. The young seniors are 61 to 84. The older seniors are 84 and up. And believe me, they don't like to be called old anymore. We are contracted with the Area Agency on Aging, which is under the Southern Georgia Regional Commission out of Waycross. And our transportation services to and from the center for our seniors is through MEIS. Our center, a lot of people want to know what goes on there. We have a variety of services and programs, including the Meals and Nutrition Program, Information and Assistance, Health, Fitness and Wellness, Transportation, Public Counseling, Social and Recreational Activities, Educational and Art Programs, and we have fun. Our 2014 goals accomplishments: increase public awareness. The center's staff provide consistent, high-level customer service delivery, and with the full-time custodian and site manager, we're able to do that service. The staff, we work as a team. We're a team spirit, therefore we're on one accord. We continue to provide innovative and up-to-date senior programs for the community. And those programs are increasing because there's a lot of changes that is going to occur with Social Security. So we're actually working almost one-on-one with not only our seniors, but walk-in seniors. They're using the computers now, and most of them don't even know how to turn on a computer. So that's what we spend most of our time in the afternoons assisting. The numbers continue to increase in our senior size class. We have anywhere between 35 and 40 on some days. We continue to host the AAA bowling for seniors. That is to get additional funds. If someone needs an air condition, we don't have to go through federal funds. We can go through that pot. We obtain 100% health inspection grade and 100% on our AAA grade. Hosted 2 successful community lunches for the needy and seniors, and they were all sponsored events. And we are now the host for our Manor Drop, which is every 2 months on the 2nd Saturday. The good news and the bad news, where did I go with best news? Due to the increased membership, Union Grove Church of God in Christ has come to us and want to use our center for their second services. They've outgrown their service, their building out there. So they're going to be meeting every Sunday in August from 7:30 to noon. So we've just signed a contract which is going to bring in us $1,900 per month. And this is our goal, is to make the community aware of what we do and our services. The best news is we received a $500,000 community development grant that will help defray the cost of the expansion for the center. Work is in progress to prepare for groundbreaking and renovation. This expansion will give us more opportunity, space to serve all of our seniors. The renovation is going to include a medical room, arts, crafts, dining room, bridge room, quilting, sewing, small office, meeting room, and a library media room. This is just some of our seniors, and quilting is their hobby that they do to raise funds for them to go on extracurricular trips and their field day, as they call it. Mr. Edwards still comes proudly every day. He's 94 years old. Performance measure, the activities, and I hate that I can't see it in here, and you can see that. The senior activities, we're only supposed to offer 34. But we've exceeded that by leaps and bounds. And in 13, we offer 480. To this day, we've offered 258. So we'll go way over 400 again. Nutrition program, we delivered 6,713. Thus far, we've delivered 3,500. Projected is about 7,200. The congregate meals, 5856. We've thus far served 3,100. Projected is 63. Those congregate meals went down as well as our, the congregate meals because of the sequestration this year. We didn't have deliveries on Friday, so we had to go out and search for food to continue to feed our seniors as well as our home delivered seniors programs. The performance measures, the facility rentals, we revamped that room almost 2 to 3 times in one day sometimes. We have a lot of weddings, birthday parties, business meetings, as well as funerals, repasts. Actual, we've had 120 as of this date, so I'm sure from the calendar, it's gonna be at least between 175 and 180, but we're projecting 150. And that went down because we didn't know when renovation was gonna start, so we had to turn down some of the larger things like weddings. Nonprofit organizations, we have 125 that actually meets there, and these are from the library, the grandparents, you name it, they basically meet there. And we host a lot of the federal and state programs. If it's during the day and nothing is there, then we offer assistance for them. And we get help back, so. The 15 goals, we're working on the senior center expansion. And along with the SPLOST and the grant, it'll be over $1 million to expand and the renovations. We continue to increase awareness and promote the benefit of our service to the community at large. Community continues seeking public and private funding. And as we know, we need all the fundings we can get. We just can't depend on federal and state, so that's why we go after any rentals facilities we can get to help us. Our budget, we're not asking for very much at all, only 19,000. But what we're asking for is very much needed to maintain the quality and the quantity of our services that we are now providing. The budget request, we're now a heavily used facility, and cleaning and repairs are a necessity. Repair services have increased. As you know, we have a lot of old equipment, our kitchen equipment and other things, and the repair services just enormous now. Supplies, the cost is rising for both cleaning and general office supplies. Our tables and chairs, they need to be replaced. Continued training for our staff as required by AAA. We all have to have the CPR, our ServSafe test, etc. However, grants and public-private funding must be ongoing in order to successfully meet our goals. So thank you. And if we have any questions? No questions?
Fran, I want to say first, that's great, that A+, rating for your kitchen, that is great.
It is.
And then I saw there you got 2 big increases. One of them on your pager and BlackBerry charges, that's what it's gone there. You're asking for double from last year.
But that is, I think that's gonna change, that increase. What we're gonna do is get one for Natasha. So what it did is combined it from one budget to the other, I believe. But I think Steve will say the cost is not accurate. That's not gonna be the actual cost. I think it's gonna be only about 1,200. Yeah.
So is she gonna be on the city cell phone?
Yes, and the reason why is all of the seniors call Tasha. If they're going to not be in the next day or need transportation, they will call, but those calls are after hours. And we don't get them until the next day, but then we're charged for that if the driver go and pick them up and they're not there. Calls come in almost 24/7 there, and you know, when anything happens to our seniors, people call, we go to the hospital, we go to their homes, so I see it as a necessity.
And
I mean,
let them know the percentage that's actually paid for Natasha as site manager by the AAA.
Yeah, that is,
Isn't it like
it's
60%?
68%, anywhere it's between 65 and 70% of her salary now comes from the area agency on aging. So it's like a matching between ours, and we would get part of that back from AAA. We get a check from them.
I just wanted to ask you, it's a big jump.
Okay, sure,
Okay, thank you.
sure.
Ms. Brown, I got one question, Ms. McCollum. I'm sorry.
Yes,
The grant for $500,000, not the match grant, right?
No.
no,
That's not match.
Thank you, Fran, appreciate it.
okay, and I think that's it.
Okay, Scott?
Well, which one you gonna find out first?
Yeah, they're both in there. They'll both cover topic by topic. If you have questions, don't hesitate to stop me as we go through. I understand our time is limited. I appreciate you guys having me here today to discuss this. The ESG is located under which tab? Water, wastewater, okay.
There's two tabs.
Right.
Just a little bit this way, and then towards me.
So we're gonna talk about sewer first, or water first?
Well, we're going to talk about both. And unfortunately, I put together this presentation in such a way that it's going to bounce between one to the other and compare. But water will typically come first. We'll see that as we go through.
They're in a contract, one number fits it, that takes care of all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Big cans of the great stuff.
It really is. You know, we, as we prepare our projects or our budgets for 2015, we reflect real quickly on 2014. It was a good year for the Water and Wastewater Department. We had a number of firsts. We had the personnel within our departments achieve 15 professional licenses ranging from their class 3s to class 1s. That's a big deal for just a limited staff. We're very proud of them and the amount of time that they put into achieving that. We've also implemented a lot of new technology that's taken some getting used to for our folks, but it's paying dividends right now. We were able to save the city roughly $400,000 in return under the contract that we currently have. That being said, it's not without its challenges, right? The drought is officially over from a water and wastewater standpoint. That's always a big issue with us. And that being said, we'll kind of move into that. 2015 is likely to present us with some new challenges, and some of that's going to be related to new regulations. Some of that is going to be related to flows, aging infrastructure. We'll move to that in a minute. A brief description of our current utility. If we're looking at the water, most of you may know that we've got approximately 12,000 meters out there, but how does that water get there? Well, it's through 285 miles of water mains. The fire department has at their disposal over 1,700 fire hydrants that have to be checked and repaired on a periodic basis. We have 16 wells that generate that water. We pull from the upper floors of the aquifer. That's our water source. It's one of the better water sources in the United States. We have 8 elevated storage tanks. That's what provides your pressure to your homes. Whenever you open the tap, you have anywhere from 50 to 60 psi. That's what the elevated storage tanks are doing for you. They're generating that pressure. As a water utility, we're going to distribute to our customers a little over, actually we're going to pump about 1.5 billion gallons of water. That's what we did last year. We expect this year to be a little bit more. And your utility has a value. If you were to replace piece by piece today in excess of $115 million. Your water and sewer utilities represent one of the greatest investments that you have in the city. It's a tremendous infrastructure investment. Interestingly enough, some of this investment started 100 years ago. Through the years, it's been added to, it's been maintained, but there is, without glossing over, there's a lot of it that has reached the end of its service life, and that presents challenges for the city as we move forward. Talking about a sewer system, just from a mile standpoint, it's a little smaller than the water system. We deliver water into the county. In certain areas, it doesn't receive sewage treatment, but we have 145 miles of sewer mains, 2,170 manholes, and after the last few weeks, I'm convinced all of them leak. We have a treatment plant. We have a first generation advanced biological nutrient removal plant. It's rated for 8 MGD. It is a fine facility. It is. The city made a great investment when they built that plant. We have 160 acres of land application that we deal with our biosolids. We have 19 lift stations that pump the sewage throughout the city, eventually ending there at the wastewater plant itself. And here's a number that I don't like to see. We treated 2.2 billion gallons of wastewater last year. Well, we only sold 1.5 billion gallons of water. That's a problem. It's a problem for every utility. If you watch the news, you understand that Valdosta and many of our sister cities in the area are suffering from the same type issues. The wastewater plant itself, our wastewater system, its collection system, has an estimated value in excess of $165 million. Oops, going a little too quick. What affects us? Well, we're subject to over 12,000 state and federal regulations. That encompasses water and wastewater. To make sure that we're meeting all of those regulations, as a utility, we'll perform approximately 25,000 control and quality tests every year. That takes up the time of 43 full-time employees, plus a number of resources that we bring in from other projects and our corporate office there in Macon. The water utility itself dates back over 100 years. Some of the sewage conveyance system over 80 years. State and federal regulations require specific license certifications. That's why our staff has invested so much time in education, and that has given them the ability to test for and receive these professional certifications that put us in a better position with regard to our state and federal regulators. It was a definite weak spot moving into this year that we've resolved. Our water system was awarded a Georgia Association of Water Professionals Gold Award for 2013. Again, of the 2,600 communities in our state that have a water utility, only less than 200 were eligible for the award. So we're very proud of our staff. Since, just to give you an idea of the amount of work that gets done since January of this year, that actually goes to yesterday, day before yesterday, we completed 2,663 work orders. A lot of those are going to be preventative work orders. It's a very important process, an important aspect of what we do within the utility. Cost comparison. Where does water rank? It is still, the utilities that we provide as a city are probably some of the most cost-effective commodities that you could buy. In our city, 1,000 gallons of water will cost you $1.42. That, when people talk to customer service, it adds up. They think that's the going around. But let's put that in perspective really quickly. If we compare that, the same volume of milk would cost 3,500 gallons, or cost $3,500. That's $1.42 per 1,000 gallons. We can contrast that down there. I used some Dasani there, bottled water, which is exorbitant. You can see it on a per 1,000 gallon basis. Again, $8,000 versus $1.42. Wine and whiskey, they're just unthinkable. If we get down to it, the EPA, based on the numbers in our city, each household will consume approximately 9,000 gallons per month. What is that? Well, that's 75,000 pounds of water. 75,000 pounds, 8.34 pounds per gallon. 75,000 pounds of water delivered inside your home for $22.84. I don't think UPS will touch us on that. That's an excellent deal. And by comparison, if that volume of water would fill the average bedroom in the United States 7 feet, and that's a month. That's what an average household would consume in a month, 7 feet of water in a bedroom. Our staff is on call 24/7, weekends and holidays. On the city, among the city staff, we're convinced that things only break on weekends and holidays and at night. Many problems have very serious consequences to our customers. That's always a major concern for us. But in addition, problems have serious liability for the utility, serious liability for the city, not only property damage, but also in violations, fines, and enforcement action. Really quickly here, how the funds are funded. you're probably aware by now that water and sewer are enterprise fund. It's different from tax revenue. We sell a product and we reimburse the cost to produce and deliver that product. SPLOST will be available to us in the coming future to help address some of our infrastructure concerns, and that is a blessing, I'll be honest with you. Our costs, the federal government tells me that on average, the parts, pieces, chemicals, power, everything that we do will increase the utility cost by 2.5 to 3% every year. Way to look at that is that over the course of 5 years, the purchasing power of $100,000 will be reduced to $85,000. Or in our case, if you have a utility with grosses around $7 million in revenue, that buying power over 5 years, if we don't make the adjustment and keep up with CPI, it reduces our buying power by over $1 million. So we're expected to provide the same service with really, truly less buying power. And that's a problem for all utilities right now. It's an arcane way that cities do their funding. They realize we're behind the ball, and then they'll raise the rates. And that only gets you even on that year. You start immediately the year after falling off. A recent trend, and one that the American Water Works Association recommends for all utilities, is a change to your ordinance, which calls for an annual adjustment, automatic annual adjustment into your utility rates of whatever the federal CPI number is. And they have one specific for water and wastewater utilities. Utility rates. Last time that we were raised here in Tifton County, it was 2010. Water rates were raised 10%, wastewater 15%. Our average utility costs have increased by 2.7% per year. And these are the numbers that I referenced earlier, the ones that actually cause great concern. Annual sewer flows to all of last year were 2.2 billion gallons. We recovered the cost to treat 1.2 billion gallons. 1 billion gallons of water went through our collection system and through our wastewater plant that we had no revenue to recover. It begins to express the scale of the issue with regard to what our costs are. This is primarily what causes that infiltration reflux. Again, drought's over, the water table has come back up, rain has been pretty significant for last year. That water gets into an aged infrastructure that needs repair, and it becomes a burden. It increases the power consumption costs, chemical consumption costs, wear and tear on our equipment, shortens its lifespan. All that needs to be factored in. Our flows since January 1 of this year are 1.2 billion gallons. So at this point, we've probably already surpassed the amount of water that we're going to get paid to treat for the rest of the year. Difficult way to look at it, but that's the reality. Spills and violations are directly related to our flow. The only violations that our city has had in the last 2 years have been directly related to flow. Spills, if anybody has looked at the paper, we know that that's been a challenge recently, again, directly related to flow. And our costs are directly related to flow. You know, one of the things that we've been asked to look at is a rate recommendation. Spoken with Lois, spoken with some of the other members of our company, and frankly some of the other surrounding cities. And based on what our costs are right now, we're recommending that we consider a rate increase in the sewer utility for inside and outside sales of 10%. The water rates at this point, we feel are fine. We do believe that this is an interim step and something that we'll consider as we move forward. The real solution there is a proper and true rate study conducted by an independent third party that will help to resolve the outstanding issues between the city and county and put us on a sustainable path for the utility. I believe that's fundamental. And you'll see in my cost request for this year that we put that in there to make sure that we can get that done. If the council takes up this, if they take up this proposal for a 10% increase in the sewer costs, we'll look at an average, and actually the number that I've got here showing the sewer bill increasing by $3 approximately is based on some EPA numbers. Lois was kind enough to run the numbers for me. It would actually call for an increase of about $2.13 on a monthly bill for a inside the city customer. And we'll contrast that a bit to an outside I think most everybody in this room now understands that there's a difference between the inside and outside rate structure, something that we really need to address as we move forward. Again, that rate study is in there for that. My number shows a 446 increase, again, based on some global numbers the EPA uses. The reality of it here is that an outside customer, their rate would increase by $3.17 per month. What are we spending that money on? In 2015, we have 2015 as a transitionary year. We've tried to reduce as much as possible the capital outlays in the coming year in order to pay off some of the long-term accrued deficits that we've got. The Southside Main project that you see there, by far and away, the largest component of that, is to pay off a project that actually started in 2010. NPDES permit renewal, our wastewater permit is actually up for renewal. It's going to cost about $30,000 to do the sampling and the submittals and the engineering work to have the city get a new permit. Rate study, we've already touched on that. SCADA is very simple. That's supervisory control and data acquisition. That is basically a $7,000 computer system that will monitor all the wastewater plants, water plants, lift stations 24/7 and alert us if there's a problem. Water's a little bit, the water is basically along the same. The largest single expense in there is to finish a project that was started several years ago. It's a water meter system upgrade. The DOT project that's listed up there, DOT is going to be modifying Carpenter Road. We have 25 conflicts that we have to resolve as they go through and pay that or redo that road. We expect $165,000 worth of repair there. I've also priced in the replacement cost of 4 vehicles that are at or well beyond their usable life. We also have the Bass Plant upgrade to prep that property for sale, $50,000. Rate study again. Section of the vehicles, average mileage on those vehicles is approximately 170,000 miles. Do you have any questions? Frankly, Mayor, I don't think I got all my time. But
I think you got 2.5 minutes over. Did a great job. No questions, Scott. Thank you very much. Thank you for the work that you have. You are. Now we're going to have Harold Fairman, Dr. Turner. I believe that y'all will step up to the plate here. We have, Tyrone, we've allotted 15 minutes for you here. As you can see, we've got a full explanation. Oh, yeah, we know you can. Are we adjourned?
Make it real quick. Come on, Joe. What you get?
I'm just gonna pull that up.
Yeah, we need to. This part of work.
Yeah, person, what do you want it? Which one is the laser?
It is, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
All right. Well, first, let me thank you for the opportunity of being here again to discuss tourism. We are a growing section of your taxes. We were up about 15 to 20% last year. As you know, we collect those taxes from 5% on the motels, and also you get 3% for your general fund, and we get 2% or 2 cents of the 5 cents for promotion and trade shows and this type of thing. Dr. Joe Turner here is our treasurer, and he's here to answer any questions if we need him. It's my opportunity through the Spearman Agency to manage the account and to promote tourism and getting more shows and more events and more things here in Tifton. And we're really improving. If you went to the Fairway this past week to see our upgrades, most of our hotels are upgrading, which means a little higher price, which means more commission for you. And that means things are doing pretty well. We just had a meeting a few minutes ago with our hotel owners, and they were all impressed with our changes that are happening at various things as we try to build shows and bring more here. But let me just quickly go show you the budget as how it will work. The city of Tifton, we expect to get around $328,000 this year. Last year we had $280,000, so that reflects the increase. We planned a budget this year of a total of $360,000. You can see right here, but we're going to have to deficit spend a little bit and go into our fund and use 32,000 to get to 360,000 to balance. And how will we spend this money? First of all, billboards. We have last year 48,000. We do a matching with billboards. If you're a motel or an attraction, you get half the billboard, we get half for our campaign of Think Tifton or whatever campaign we've got going at the time. And we will reimburse you after you pay the billboard company. So it's a co-op that we do, and we've got 20 billboards north and 20 billboards south with Think Tifton on them. People will talk to you about them, and we try to keep Tifton on their mind as they're headed south, hoping they'll get off at our exit. On the next area there, we have brochures and update of our website. We're going to keep the Think Tifton campaign, but we're changing it. It's going to get a new look, upgrade it to the modern society. We're also going to match that with a brochure, also with our website and all the things that go with it. So everything you see that we'll have a new look shortly. We've hired a company in Montgomery, Alabama, Stamp Image, and they're in the process of getting all this put together. But it'll be a new brochure, a new look and everything. That's the 25,000 right there that we've set aside for them. Printing of that, we're getting less brochures now than we used to get. We haven't printed in the last 2 years, but we're running out, and we use $5,000 for printing brochures. Now, that's about half what we normally spend, but people aren't using brochures like they used to. They're going to the web. And so we're going to focus on getting into the internet and getting off at Tifton. The next area is information brochures. These are just small items. As people come into town, yesterday the new Methodist preacher wanted a package, so we made him copies of stuff that's on the internet, like the restaurants. We got 85 restaurants, the number of motels and information. That is all on simple things, and we just make copies as needed. No use to print several thousand and not use them, because next week they'll change. So we have to keep that updated. The next area is promotional items. We have Tifton peanuts, cups, bags, napkins, and all kind of promotional material. We didn't order a lot this year, but we expect to use that amount, 8,000 there. The next area is display. As soon as we get our new look of Think Tifton, we're going to have some pull-ups that we'll use at various shows, and that's for that $1,000 there. So that's the use of everything in this area, promotion and programs. Next area is office operations. We'll continue with Allen Pritchett and Bassett as our keeper of our funds. The Spearman Agency will stay the same as for storage and maintaining all of our copies, postage, website, internet, all that stuff. Then the Spearman Agency will receive the same amount as last year. The housing events, hosting events, that is the 1,500 there. And then you will push that up a little bit, we'll see the bottom part. The tourism phone, of course, that's required. It's on all of our brochures. And then the travel and entertainment, that's when we, if you get a chance to go anywhere, we don't spend very much money on travel. Next area is advertising. We have hired a company that's working with us on trying to push people on our website. This company, Reach Local, has been very successful, and we're still working with them, and we plan to use that again this coming year. Industry dues, of course, we're a member of the state. Angela on my staff is the president this year of the Plantation Trace region. I think that's quite an honor for Tifton as well. And then we give money to groups of people that's helping us promote tourism. We're a little bit different than most towns where they do it all. They got a staff to do it all. But us, we give various people or various groups that are doing events to host them and to have them. We got more festivals probably than anybody else in the South Georgia area on various weekends. But it's all part of tourism. The Chamber of Commerce gets $4,000 for mailing out responses to people that are calling there or stop by. The Tifton County Chamber of Commerce, we are a partner with the University of Georgia, and we're also a partner with, who else don't have the hospital? University of Georgia, ABAC and us, as far as tourism. Not ABAC, but what's the third one there? Chamber of Commerce, that's it. Those are the three that are supporting this position, and that's Chris Beckham, who comes and helps us with various news releases and promotional material there. I wish the city would come join in that, and we could get y'all some more news in the paper, which is needed. YMCA, we got a $5,000 there that they have been coming down here through community support. We took them out because they're going to be hosting several special events from out of town. The Georgia Museum of Agriculture, we give them $20,000 for the promotion and marketing of their events. This is the main, one thing we pointed out here is this is mainly to help them keep the welcome center going as well. because we don't give any, city does not give any as far as promotion of that. University of Tifton Campus Conference Center, for the past, I think, 15 years, we've been providing the position there of $50,000 for the sales and salary position of the conference coordinator. And we also do $15,000 for their marketing support as well. So $65,000 of our money go into the University of Georgia Tifton Campus Conference Center for bringing in big shows. One of them we did was the peanut show that I took to Albany years ago, but we got it back. We got it back in Tifton, and they're coming back this year. And just got news this week that the Methodists, 2,000 Methodists are coming back here for their conference. And they're not only going to do it 1 year, they'll do it 2 years. So that's 2,000 people for a full week. The bad part is they're coming on top of another convention, so we may have motel room problems. So we're working on that. The community support group, this is $30,000 we set aside for all of our various festivals and groups. Whether it is, we've had to divide our promotion of helping events to 4 different areas. One, of course, is the University of Georgia. One is the conference, the Agorama, or what I call Agorama, or Museum of Agriculture. We've started a new sports initiative. The new sports initiative is that new one right there, $15,000. Now, we've gotten several tournaments, the swimming meet, state swim meet, the regional swim meet here at the center, and then we've got now in the gymnastics, in the cheerleading. Y'all just can't imagine the people that travel following these kids. We had 25, one man is coordinating 25 softball and baseball tournaments here next year. So we've got a contract under that one. But that is a big part of our program under that sports initiative, that $15,000 we're bringing groups. And then this past year, we started a new group, the Outreach Marketing Group. This was a group that Julie and Chris started, was trying to bring more of total community events. Well, first one we did the Rhythm and Ribs Barbecue Fest. Man, what a success. That was the biggest crowd I've ever seen at Fullwood Park. But we renewed for next year and going to do it again. Then we did some other things with this working right here. The Hometown Holidays comes out of this group. So if we're going to have a Hometown Holiday celebration, bring in tourists and visitors, we have to have money. And that's where that money comes from, right in that $35,000. But we ended up with $189,000 here. By the way, we have a little bit of money left from this 45, and that's the reason they're down, was we moved that into the Hometown Holidays to get them an early start. So if you add all that up, $360,000, that means we'll have $199,000 left in our assets total. We'll use $32,000 here to make it all balanced, and we'll have $167,000 reserved. We hope we try to keep a $200,000 reserve in tourism, just in case some gigantic good project comes along. We don't want to be broke. So that's one reason we try to save that there. I'll stop and see if you have any questions. Yes.
All right, last year on the outreach marketing group, we were promised 60,000.
Right.
We got 45, and now it's down to 35. Why are we not at least 45 for 2015? Because we have the same level, if not more, projects slated for 2015. Why is that down $10,000?
That was down, well, we had $10,000 left over, and we moved it into the Hometown Holidays.
Right.
And we could go further into that 167, but to make everything balanced, that was the reason we put in 35. If you need more, it's right there.
Yeah, because we've got 167,000 available.
Right.
And that OMG group did a lot of stuff, brought a lot of people in.
Yeah.
I just don't want that to be the limit.
Well,
because we need 45,000 to do what we're going to do with those.
well, you used 10,000 less this year on what you did.
Well, with the multiple events, though, rather than 60 would get us where we need to be. And
Right.
if there is some left over, hey, that's great, we didn't use it all.
Right.
Hey, put a cap on it.
Just leave that open.
Well, you think we want to move that back to 45 or 50?
I'd like to see it back to 45.
You got to remember now, this is just the 2% we get. Y'all getting 3% from the city.
That money's already set aside.
Other tourism projects we're working on.
I'm just a hired in.
I would like to see
Say
it,
what
I would
I
like to
want
see
to
it at 45, and we'll just put that contingency back at 157,000,
All right,
our reserve.
all right. All right, Joe?
Well, I think
what they're saying is that they're in the same, y'all confused my horses, but I think you're in the same situation we are from the standpoint of y'all want the 45, and I don't blame it, I can understand it. And we hate to see our reserve keep going down and down and down. If you look at what we've spending on fixed income every year for the University of Georgia out there with the Conference Center, Sports Initiative, the Museum of Agriculture, we're spending $320,000. That's been a problem. I mean, if we quit funding the Conference Center, we don't have an administrator. And then we're gonna be in trouble because they're bringing in around 55,000, 60,000 people a year. And that helps tourism tremendously. So what my main concern is, I was, y'all have been sort of pushing that we don't have a reserve. It would just do zero-based budgeting every year. We can't do a zero-based budget if we already have 5 and 6 year commitments to the conference center. And the other places where if we don't have the money, we can't fund it. So.
Dr. Turner, I know you remember this, but when our attorney went out to the tourism group, that's state law.
Yes.
Well,
And I understand your position.
I know it is, but if you've already got a pre-funded commitment, that ought to be state law too.
Well,
You can't fund something if you don't have the
Well,
money.
we're abiding by state law, you're spending more than you're bringing in.
Yeah, we spent a lot last
We're
year.
doing federal law now, we're spending more. We're doing deficit
We
spending.
started off with the reserve in the last 10 months,
Yes.
380,000, I think it was.
It was up there.
And,
Is there any place up here,
165.
want to cut? Move it down to outreach? Yeah.
We are predicting, and Lois, correct me if I'm wrong here, but a contribution to tourism of $342,130 this year. That's our estimated hotel motel.
342,
342,130.
and I got a 324. There's your money.
Did you allocate it to?
Did you see that, Dr.
Yeah. Can we bring that back down, Jesse?
And I think that's right.
Can you allocate that to that line item?
Yes, ma'am. Sure can.
Our revenues are up, so.
Now, she's estimating that our revenues are gonna be up more than what we estimated. We just did the
Right.
average.
You got a real conservative number there.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's good. That's
While
good.
we're here, can I ask a question of you, and I guess of the council? You mentioned that the use of Chris Beckham and that partnership for communication. Is that something we could use some of the city's 3% tourism money to contribute to that role, to have some assistance in communications and public relations and that kind of thing?
We have another increase in the hotel motel budget. The proposed increase this year is probably going to get that. But we could.
Well, if she's right on the 345, you're gonna have another $20,000.
How much are you talking about?
Well, the other partners contribute 15,000 into the pot of money to support that salary for that person. And that person is, it's basically a communications person. They attend the meetings, they report to the media, they provide,
Good PR.
PR, they do press releases, photos, things like that. I know that's something that, that.
We team together and do it.
And he's doing a phenomenal job.
As part of our draft budget, we do have a contingency in there. So if y'all choose to, we could probably add that. I would take it away from the contingency.
3 partners at 45,000 each.
3 partners are 15.
I think 45 total.
Are
So
you talking how
split
much?
it by 4.
Does the number stay the same, or well,
Number stays the
his
same.
workload's gonna increase if you bring a fourth partner? So it would stand to reason that should go up some.
Not much.
I wanna be fair.
Right.
Anyway, those are things, we don't have to solve that now, but I do want us to think
That is-
about that, because I think that's an
That
important.
would be a great asset for everybody.
This meeting right here is to get this stuff in here, if there's some things y'all want to fund, and if that's something that you're serious about, you want us to look at it, what you got in contingency over there,
We cover.
we can put 15,000 in there for the communications. If that's the consensus of this group,
So that person really works for UGA, it's just funded through the Tourism Association.
There's to the chamber. We all make our
Chamber,
money.
that's right, that's
We give
right.
our money to the chamber.
That's right, okay,
And he operates under Brian.
okay,
We need something covered, we just call
right.
And
Gotcha.
he's really doing a good job for the other group, so.
Yeah.
And other even our outreach marketing group, so.
All right,
You're right.
what we'll do is solve your problem by increasing that right there and put it right down there under our.
It gives you about 18,000 now.
Right.
That way we've got that money there, because that OMG crew is on fire, and they brought a lot of people in.
Yes,
They're
sir.
gonna continue to do that.
Right.
And so that's, we're getting a lot more for what we're spending,
Okay.
a lot more back.
All right. Any other questions? Okay,
One thing
Joe.
that we talked about too, and I know you talked about this, and that's the 64, 62 exits. The people, particularly motel members, really, they have even discussed themselves trying to make some contribution to try to get that upgrade much more. The problem is the maintenance, it's like you go to the house, I mean,
We
the
just
more you
hired,
plan, the more you have to take care of it.
we just hired 6 summer workers to help resolve that issue. I'm sorry, 5. I'm corrected, 5 summer workers.
Well, I'd be glad to buy them lunch on me.
I will too, I'll
Man,
I'll
let's
contribute,
get that exit
because that needs
beautified.
cleaned up,
Lord,
yeah.
mercy.
It looks
Ugly.
bad.
Worst exit on 75.
Not the worst. Worst of it.
You get off there that, and you look in that corner, and all them cigarette butts and all that. Quit smoking. I don't smoke.
Well, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just gotta fix that. Anybody for anything else?
The position is, it's the communications person, is that what you're asking? Under, yes, the second one under, co-op support, Tifton County Chamber of Commerce Communications, $15,000.
Just my sound file, that's in there with PowerPoint.
That's fine. I've only got 15 minutes.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you. I'm Victoria Horst. I'm the branch manager of the Tifton County Public Library and have been so since 2009. I didn't know there was going to be so many people here, or I would have made more handouts. You are not going to be looking at a detailed picture of my budget. The people at the front got that. I don't sound like Harold Spearman. He has that gorgeous voice that I wish I had. So I'm going to show you pictures of cute kids instead and tell you a little bit about the library and how many people we serve. Because we serve a lot more people than a lot of people around here think. Approximately 22,000 people have a Tifton library card, right? More than 115,000 people have walked through my door this fiscal year. And they do all sorts of things with our building and with our services. So, what do? Well, in March, we had approximately about 450 people walk through the door, an average day in March. You should see what happens when school's out. It's not a quiet place to come. But what do you do in the library on an average day? Well, there's no slide here, but you know a lot of people check out books and DVDs and audiobooks. Over 160,000 of them since the 1st of July. But what else do they do? One of the most important things that I think everyone in this room needs to realize is there is a significant portion of our population who has absolutely no access to computers other than what we provide at the public library. more and more employers and the governments in various levels are telling people who come to them, go to this website, fill out this form, send it to us through your email, and we will reply via email. There's lots of people out there who do not have a computer, do not have internet access, do not know what an email address is, and have no idea how to get one. The Social Security Agency is now telling people who go to them and tell them that their identity has been stolen to go to the library. They will help them. We are being told to go to the or people are being told to go to the library to get their divorce papers. If you want to apply for child support, go to the library. They'll help you do that. And we sit with people day in and day out, set them up with email, take them to these websites, and hold their hands. Because, I mean, we see people every day when they say move the cursor up the page, lift the mouse. Yes, it's 2014. But there is a significant portion of the population that have been totally left behind, and we serve these people. We also serve kids. Traditionally, library services have been a lot about kids, and we have not neglected that. We do gobs of kids programs. We're getting geared up for summer reading this year. It's Fizz Pop Boom summer reading, and we would love to have your kids, your neighbors' kids, your grandkids all signed up for summer reading because there's all sorts of stuff going on. Science-based, lots of experiments, lots of interesting stuff to do. And kids come. Even though there's a good bit of choice in Tifton, you could go to the Y, you can go to these different camps, we still have lots of kids come to the library for summer programming. We also do outreach events. We go to this special ed program at Northeast Campus. Sometimes these kids come to us, but sometimes we go out to them. We are now going out to a couple of the assisted living places and taking books out to them. We're looking at expanding that service. We do adult computer classes because, like I've been saying, we have this significant number of people who actually have no computer skills, or adults who, I want to build a web page and I have no idea how to start. What would you recommend? We can help them with that. I have an iPad. I got an iPad for my birthday and I don't know what to do. How do you download ebooks? How do you attach an image to an email? How do you open an image that's attached to an email? All of these things we work with. We also are one of the few libraries in the state that have a single person whose pretty well sole job is working with young adults. That's the ages between 13 and 19, an age group that you gotta have some sort of gift to work with these kids. The drama is just, between the drama and hormones, I don't know how to do it. But we have a very active program. We have a very interesting program. We have a well-attended program. We also have a very active volunteer, bunch of people who come and volunteer with us. We don't know how we would get it all done without our volunteers. And here's a collage of all sorts of people. This man is probably our newest volunteer. And Mr. Morrison has started a new program with us at the library called Pause for Reading. And you can call and set up an appointment for your somewhere around third grader to come and read to his specially trained therapy dog named Jillian. It's all this research is out there that kids who read to dogs improve reading much quicker than kids who sit and read to their parents because the dog's less judgmental. The dog doesn't care what you're reading to it. The dog is not worried about your vocabulary or your pronunciation. The dog's just pleased it's being read to. I know people do it with cats as well, but we have 2 therapy dogs now who come for the Pause for Reading program. It's been a great, great addition. We also have worked very hard to form partnerships with other organizations in town. The theater, and we partnered with the theater last year when the Manifold Greatness programs came to town. We put out Will's World, and this was the Georgia Shakespeare Company that came down to do that for us. We partnered with the museum. We partnered with the school system. And we have formed a partnership with the Day Reporting Center. Once a month, we go out to talk to the people who are the new clients. Once a month, they start a new coterie of, I don't know, does everybody know what the Day Reporting Center is? Yes, no? Okay. Basically, there are too many people in prison in Georgia. And so rather than sentencing people to prison, they sentence them to Day Reporting Center. This is people who have committed maybe crimes against property. They're not really a danger to anybody. It tends to be something to do with drugs. So these people are put into this program. They spend their days at the Day Reporting Center. They are drug tested the heck out of them. And they receive a great deal of counseling work, anger management, parenting classes, how to get it, if they haven't got a GED, they're working on their GED. Well, we show up there and we make sure every one of those people has a library card. Everyone does by the time we leave. We talk about the programs available to them. You know, it used to be I would go out and I would hand out brochures. I hand brochures to everybody. Nobody looks at those things. Nobody looks at those things. You have to go and stand in front of people and say, do you know you can borrow ebooks from your public library? Do you know if you have a Kindle, you can log into the library page and download books? You know, I write it in the paper a couple times a year. And still people come up to me all the time and say, I didn't know you could do that.
We have about 2 minutes left.
Okay, all right, we're motoring. Okay, we've also done a bunch of other stuff. International Talk Like a Pirate Day is in September. We have Santa come. I have the same funding request as last year. We dodged a bullet this year. We thought that our insurance costs were going to go up approximately 30%. And I did not know exactly how I was going to address this group of people. But we dodged that bullet. So our costs this year are approximately the same as they have been in previous years. And so I'm just asking for the same amount that I did before.
And that's what's in the budget.
And that's what's in the budget. Are there any questions? I'd love more, please, but I understand. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to my newsletter. Come in and get a bookmark made out of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Get the hat.
Everybody go back to the service. Page 30.
You never We need to take care of that. No, let's put it like we need it. I'll pass out.
All right. Well, here you got our FY 2014 budget request for the IT department. Basically, yeah, we're in the service fund. Basically, our goals in the IT department is other department has goals in their department. We assist our departments with their technology needs, such as customer services, bringing on the new work order system from ESG. We're going to be helping with that, training, several software upgrades that affect all of our departments. So our goal is to make every transition for every system and piece of software we do as easy as possible for my customers, which are everybody in this room. We've got 2 staff positions in our department, myself and Ray. We're full-time, both full-time exempt employees. So we put in quite a few hours for the city. I wanted to touch on my largest account is the software data maintenance account. This makes up the bulk of the budget for the IT department. And it's basically support, licensing, and maintenance for all the software that the city uses. A couple years back, we put in an initiative to absorb all the software from all the different funds, other than the enterprise funds, into the IT budget. It makes it a lot easier to keep up with it, and if we're not getting the service that we need to get, we have one department that manages it citywide. So you can see our network switches are in here. The Barracudas that control your spam and your email, people surfing websites, things like that. The phone system. The big money is the Harris products. All of our financial, the human resources system, this employee self-service where we get our pay stubs, and all the apps that accompany those, our capital reporting system. That makes up the largest part of this fund is all of the Harris products. You can see it continues on the next page here. Our HDL software for business licenses and code enforcement, the camera systems, all of our security systems, we pay maintenance on those. We get updates, so when they come out with new features, where we can take advantage of those features without having to buy new software every time something new comes out. This year we've added, we purchased a new server for the government channel. We've added the support for that server. It's actually Rushworks government channel maintenance right there. We've also added the live streaming, so that people that live in the county and don't have MediaCom or CNET cable, they can go on our website and watch the government channel live. Anything that's on there, they can see it. This is just a summary of what's changed in that account. Every year we have to go up 5% on the Harris software maintenance. That's their mandated in their support contracts. We go up 2% on HDL, and then our 5% for our check printing software. We've added the maintenance for the government channel. The maintenance for the backup software we use went up a little bit. Additional cameras, we added a little bit there. And these 3 items we've actually removed. The logged in software, we don't use it. The TechNet, they're actually discontinuing it. And the antivirus, for every city, every computer in the city, it's only funded every 3 years. We get quite a bit of a discount if we buy a 3-year plan as opposed to a 1-year plan. It's like $4,000 that we save. So it'll be back in FY 2019. Excuse me, 18. That results in a decrease of $8,600 in our software data maintenance account. The bandwidth connectivity, we pay for the internet for the entire city. All of our buildings are on the same network. They all use the same internet. We have CityNet as our main fiber internet, and then we have a MediaCom cable modem like you've got at your house in case that internet goes down. Everything uses the internet nowadays. The credit card processing all over the city. If internet goes down, you can't run credit cards. So we have that MediaCom for a backup just in case. We've used it maybe 3 times, and it's automatic. If PlantNet fails, MediaCom is right online. The end users do not see a drop in service. My general supplies account, this is a pretty big line item, it's $10,000. It's not just for our department though. It's for citywide, like servers. I'm responsible for all the servers that run all this software. If a hard drive fails, or if we need to buy parts for that server, it comes out of this supplies account. Backup batteries, spare parts for the entire telephone system, spare parts for iPhones, iPads, things like that. That all comes out of our supplies account, as well as our general office supplies that we use on a daily basis. Our dues and subscription account, we're a member of Georgia GMIS, it's Management Information Sciences. It's sort of like GERMA or GMA, like they have the finance officer. Okay, we're getting on there. That's $150. I have $1,000 for training. We do it online, just to keep up on new technologies. I did go up on my telephone because they started charging the internet advertising for the city to my department. So that is to cover when they go to yellowpages.com and look up the city. My capital outlay, basically we're continuing projects, SPLOST 4 projects, through the end of 2015, and that will finish the IT department out for SPLOST 4. We'll then be able to spend SPLOST $5. We're doing phase 1 of putting our own fiber in the ground before CityNet starts charging us for the fiber that we use now. The first phase is to connect the new fire station and the gas plant. And then we'll be, in FY16, we'll start on the full city fiber. That also includes camera security systems, computer and server replacements and upgrades. All the technology that's going to go in the new city hall, that will be purchased out of 14 SPLOST 4 funds and 15 SPLOST 4 funds. So conference equipment, computers, things like that. The senior center renovations will be out of the 15 budget, camera systems, some computers for the seniors, stuff like that. We're using no SPLOST $5 until next year, and the total of our SPLOST $4 is $179,100.
I'll hold you a second. Security system citywide, how aggressive are we gonna get with that starting?
Well, we've got cameras in most of our buildings now. That covers cameras and access control, basically. So the door, where you can swipe a badge and get in the doors, that's police department, mine hotel, things like that. That's included in that. And of course the cameras. We don't put cameras in any offices, but we do put them in places where cash is collected, places that have a lot of citizen traffic. Like the first floor of the Mine Hotel is going to be completely covered with cameras. Second and third floor, we've only got cameras on the entrances to those floors. Just so if somebody comes up there and causes trouble, we have a record of them coming in onto that floor,
Good.
so on and so forth.
Larry, we're looking at some wireless camera solutions for high crime areas. I think that's kind of where you're headed with that.
That and protect our employees,
Yeah.
outside camera, whatever it takes to protect our employees.
We have
And also this.
We have some areas out there, we just haven't found something that's.
They make some covert cameras we've been looking at that looks like an electrical box mounted on a
Yeah.
pole. Been looking at some
You've
of
been to
that.
that, down in Valdosta where they have the center? I mean,
I've heard about it, but I have not been
I've
in
been in
there.
it, and you can actually look in there, and you can see from Valdosta State College all the way down to almost where I-75, but they can zoom in and get the tag number that far away, so over a mile.
Chris County has a system similar to that.
Well, I hope that's kind of where this is starting to hit. I know money isn't an issue, so
Right,
that's,
a long time away for that.
yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, but-
mainly for
but-
security on buildings. That's just a shot of the capital outlay from SPLOST 4 and SPLOST 5. It's basically what I just said. This year, we're not spending any SPLOST 5, just the 179, 100 out of SPLOST 4. And that's it.
Like you're saying, you know, we all live and die by you and Ray.
Sometimes it's technology overload.
I'm screaming that out from the telephone. Y'all have been great.
Come on, Donna, you got 5 minutes.
Hey, this is top speed for me, I can talk fast, I just can't walk fast.
You need an opportunity to improve.
Just don't make the top page side.
Don't touch the top.
Good afternoon. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the enterprise fund for the natural gas department. We have a few increases in our budget. Uniforms, line locates, public awareness is a huge part of what we do now, mandated by the Georgia Public Service Commission. It's, they're going in areas that we never dreamed. Identifying customers, non-customers. It's all safety related. but it is very, very time consuming, and we're really, really gonna be pushing, and you see a lot more messages coming out. A lot more areas where we're gonna be making direct mailing to the post office, not only through our utility bills. We got places where mandated we've never been. So that's part of that. Just a few small items that have gone up this year. Cost of gas, we're excited about that. That means we're selling more gas. So we had a good year. Roger and his crew in the years past, when the others have gone out in the areas, since we don't have the industry as much anymore, the farm community has made up for some of that on the summer load, and we are very fortunate to have it. This is just a little bit overview of the system itself. You don't have any idea how much the maintenance and the what has to go into actually keeping this running. We have an excellent, excellent system that was put down good from the very start. But we have to upgrade a lot of things now, and we're talking about now that we're not so budget restrained and trying to keep everything together, we're gonna start putting some more money into the peak shaving plant to keep it upgraded with new electronic equipment. We also, like Scott mentioned, have DOT conflicts where we'll be moving utilities for that Carpenter Road project. Cathodic protection, which is keeps the pipe protected. We're gonna try to put some money back into the system to keep the infrastructure in the shape that it needs to be.
Don, we don't own that building, we just own the cheap shavings section out there, right?
We own the building prior to originally where the peak shaving plant was part of Southern Natural. And
But
we
not
bought.
the big building.
Yes.
We own that building. Good.
We bought the warehouse building from Mr. Sorensen.
Okay.
And the dollhouse was there, so yeah, we have two city gate points. One is right there, one's on Bellflower Road, where that's where we actually purchased the gas from Southern Natural. So we've got some money in the odorizing system, which actually is what puts the smell in the gas, which is naturally no smell. That needs to be upgraded. The system is very old, and parts are no longer available. It's got to be upgraded to a newer system. Electrofusion machine is something that Roger uses to fuse pipe together. We've done a lot of incentive this year. We sold a lot of water heaters and furnaces. It's a big year for that, so we were very proud of that, and we pay our customers back for all these appliances they put in. We've got 22 new meters we put in last year with 2,700 line feet, and that was restraint on time. We have people who want gas. They call us every day because of the price is so much lower than propane. They're wanting us to have gas at their house, so we're restrained to personnel, and trying to get it out there, so we're trying to get as many of them as we can. Roger had 3,588 locates for locating the gas line for call before you dig. Pilot lights and 406 MIU changeouts, which is something we stay on top of to assist the building department, make sure everything works properly. Any questions?
Wow.
You done good.
Yes, sir.
People who have gas call you?
Yes, I do, including myself.
Thank you, Don.
You ain't right.
What's your number?
All right, Rick, we ready?
All right, I'm gonna talk a little trash to you today. I got a dumpster with gas. Ours is, of course, is solid waste and collection and disposal. This is just an overview of our employment. As you can see, the authorized, budgeted, and vacant positions that we have in your list there. Our first item here is the revenues. The main change in our revenues here is, of course, the other finance sources. This is where we pull money from reserves to pay for our capital projects. All right,
This is the administration budget. Our main change here is, like all the rest of them, is the retirement insurances and taxes. That's your increase in those. On the sanitation side, same way with the insurance, the taxes increases. Our operations are down due to the bandwidth connectivities dropped. Hopefully our maintenance will be dropping this next year because we have a lot of maintenance costs this year. The capital outlays, the increase there is 2 trucks that we're looking at, plus our cans and our normal cans and dumpsters. Main increase is the 2 trucks. This is what we've accomplished. You see, number of residential, senior, county, dumpster customers, commercial customers. And what we expect to accomplish next year is to review and manage our routes for efficiency, continue to promote customer service and safety, and also we'll be transitioning our collections to private hauler. This is our recycling. Same here, taxes, insurance. That's the increase in that. As you can see here, we've recycled 80,000 pounds of metals, 94,000 pounds of plastics, 1,160 tons of paper, cardboard, and 530 gallons of oil. Provided good customer service. We've streamlined our operations. What we expect to accomplish is to continue with our current set of customers, seek out any new customers. And one thing is to require all the customers to follow protocol with us, so that our expenses do not rise. Cross-training employees, and again, we'll be transitioning to private hauler. Landfill, our main increase there is again in the personnel and benefits is your taxes. Our capital outlays, the other big increase here. This is, we're looking at purchasing a off-road dump truck. Will allow us to work in all kind of weather conditions at the landfill. Right now, when it rains, like it's been doing for the last 2 years, we're down several days hauling dirt, which takes us out of compliance with EPD. Also, in that capital outlay, there's about $334,000 that was approved last year. That the piece of equipment will not be here until FY15. All right, this is what we've accomplished at the landfill. We purchased a dozer at the landfill this year. We're working on Area 3 to fill the grade. We'll be moving back into Area 2 shortly. Perform basic services on equipment. We have requested a permanent status to use top coat as a daily cover. This is a spraying item that will allow us it's less expensive than dirt and less expensive than the alternate daily cover we use now. This has to go through EPD to be approved. We reduced overtime, cross-trained staff, vertical expansion. We're waiting on EPD on that for approval and our inert landfill certification. What we expect to accomplish is, of course, hopefully in FY15, the vertical expansion and inert certification will be approved. We have to construct detention pond dams in our mining areas at the landfill. We're going to put out a proposal to install a leachate return system in Area 3. EPD has strongly recommended that we remove trees from our surrounding detention ponds. Continue our daily operations and update our files on EPD rules and regulations. Any questions?
Where's that amount for the vertical expansion in the landfill?
It should be in the capital outlay line items, vertical expansion.
I see it. Okay, so we had an extra 7,000 here.
It was just moved over in case the EPD requires us.
Right. I got you.
It may not be expended at all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Save y'all a little bit of time. It won't take you long.
Sir,
Yeah, those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Showcaster Building Maintenance Division. Our scope is to manage the maintenance, repair, and cost of operation of all the city of Tifton buildings. Our mission is to provide quality customer service to all departments and reduce annual operating expenses by implementing energy efficient practices, performing preventative maintenance, and reduce the need for monthly maintenance contracts. Our goals provide quick response to all requests, bring all buildings up to the highest safety standards, and perform services in-house in order to minimize contractor expenses. Our staff consists of a full-time building maintenance manager and 3 part-time custodial workers through an agreement with Diversified Services. Services we provide. We provide maintenance to over 30 buildings, including the city, county fire departments. Maintenance such as electrical and lighting repairs, plumbing repairs, roof repairs, painting and drywall repair, floor maintenance, heating and air conditioning repairs, and the custodial services for City Hall, Police Department building, and Harrison Walker Complex. Budget highlights. There's only one significant change to the 15 budget, and that is our bandwidth connectivity is being reduced by $23,781. We have 2 CIP projects, which include replacement of 1 vehicle. This is a rollover from last year. We did not get that. We were not able to purchase that vehicle in 14 budget. And so this is being rolled over into 15. And HVAC replacements at the complex. Changes to the overall operating budget have been minimal, and our requested budget for 15 is $237,015. This is a $23,000 reduction from last year. That's it.
Larry, now these joint services we're doing that work on the fire, how does that capture for us doing the maintenance of our buildings? Is there a line item in there, something that they reimburse us for all the time?
It's the service fund and also service fund expenses spread across all the funds.
Thank you. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Come on, Gibby.
Public Works is in the general fund.
We're out of time now, Chris.
On page 11, is Public Works in the general fund. Back to the front. Back to the front.
Ready? Okay.
It's 11.
Service fund?
They took mine out, it's just,
It is in
This is
page
conspiracy.
7.
conspiracy. Okay, now I got it. Conspiracy, thank you.
It's 10 through there. I mean, 8 through there.
Okay, sorry, Chris.
You okay?
It's sabotage.
That's probably most.
Oh, no, mine. This is Larry. I just need, 85.
Larry, we're gonna buck you 2 minutes of your time.
Yes, sorry. thank you.
You're okay. Like everybody else, some of my budget changes were the, taxes and insurance that we have to pay out. Some of the others were our parts and labor, because some of our equipment is pushing right at between 15 and 20 years old. Other increases were our street repair and maintenance. And that's what I did a majority of my slides on, kind of big projects that we accomplished over the year. That's what takes up a good majority of our time and our money. But this is what we feel like at that office when the phone's ringing and the radio's going off and you're chunking papers everywhere.
Right.
Well, click it to the right, right?
You're probably, you need to move it around a little bit.
Where am I?
Point it towards the computer. No, the computer.
Yeah, where's my book? It got your controller.
Hit the little arrow.
Wow.
Go to the library and learn how to do that. That's where I was.
The one that's actually used.
Somebody
When you click my jump drive,
I did that.
Okay, here we go. Now we go. All right, cemetery is actually a different entity than Public Works now, but it consists of 4 employees, 1 supervisor, and you got 3 caretakers, and currently, right now, all of our positions are taken. The guys, they oversee Oak Ridge Cemetery, which is 70+ acres that they're doing maintenance on constantly, daily. Right now, at this point, as of now, we've sold about 55 burial spots per person since July, and we've buried 127 people.
Before you leave, Barrel, is everything budgeted? Remember there, we started the signs, I had a committee that studied that, that's a free sign. We do have something budgeted there to put some more signs in, street signs.
We have signs in our street department.
Yeah, that'll be.
Oh, that's the street, okay.
Yeah. Now, Public Works. Public Works itself consists of, you got your administrative staff, which is 2 employees, you got your street, which is 17, and then you got traffic and park, which is combined, and that's 7 employees with a total of 26. Currently, we've got 5 vacant positions. We're looking at, I think, maybe doing something with those next year, but we'll see. Our first slide here is where we helped build the landfill, the road at the inner landfill. And if you'll notice, what is not pavement, but it is something like crush and run. Instead of paying thousands of dollars for truckloads of crush and run, we've been hauling in concrete that we've had ground up. We have started that, kind of recycling what we have in order to save on cost. And this is our biggest cost account. Our street repair and maintenance, that's where if you pretty much see somebody out digging up the road, that's where it's coming from. This is Peterson Apartments. That was a good amount of our replacement costs last year. During one of the good amounts of rain, those things will pop up out of the ground like a domino. We had, and you only see one side of this, but that's 200+ feet there. Then you got the driveway, opposite side, you got 200+ more feet. It was up in probably right under 30,000, give or take, just for that particular job. Now, mind you, that pipe is about big enough where, let's say a little bit short person could fit in, not too tall. All right, this is the other large project we had. It also began with just a little bitty minor hole that expanded that probably would have ate a Volkswagen. This is behind Northside Cafe.
Yeah.
We replaced about 140 feet, give or take. It might have been just a little bit, but same size pipe, that 60-inch pipe, which is pretty good size.
And just an FYI, the owner of Dollar General did approach us about closing the rest of that ditch in. We had the engineers from ESG take a look at it, and there's no good reason whatsoever to justify closing that ditch in. As a matter of fact, it serves a good purpose with it open like that now.
Yeah.
No more they pay for it, look, if they put a catch back in it.
Yeah, but you see,
we don't want it closed because it's drainage, it's drainage from all around there.
You see where that concrete block is on that far side? If you're actually out there, that property is higher, so the water's kind of coming down and then from the road. And if you put a pipe there, all the water's gotta go somewhere it's gonna sit if you don't have an opening.
I agree.
This is where I was talking about that we did, well, part of it, I take it back. If you notice how some of that sidewalk is higher than the other, we had, a couple of years back, we had a group come in and grind the sidewalks down on 20th Street. We actually purchased a small grinder, and one of our crews is actually doing that as time permits. They're trying to save what we got there versus having to pull it up and restart again. This is an afterthought of actually grinding. You'll see, I mean, there's some discoloration in it, but it gets it back level where it's safe for someone to go across.
Yeah, that's good.
You remember when, Greg Millett, I think, came to council and asked that we make Tifton more user-friendly for wheelchair people? This is part of the area that they requested those repairs to be in, and coincidentally, it just coincided with, Mr. Atwater, rehabbing that corner lot there, that building, and it turned into a really nice project.
Now that's a great one. Personally.
Yes.
This project itself actually should be finished in the next couple of weeks. Now, here's our step one. This is where the recycling comes in that I was talking about. This is a prime example of what a pine tree will do to concrete when it's near it. Of course, as it grows, it's pretty, but then once it gets as tall as it's going, then the roots are gonna go, and this is the aftermath of what it's left with the concrete. Once we, of course, customer calls in, or we just see it, we replace it usually when it's like this. Once they dig it up, it gets to go to where its lasting final destination will be, which is our pile. Once we get a certain amount back there, well, the next one is actually after we pull up the apron and we put the new concrete down. And then this is the afterthought of gone concrete. We have, once we have so much tons back there, then we have a contractor come in and they grind it up, and then we use this on alleys, washouts, the road at the inner landfill that I showed at the first section. Back, was it last year, Ricky, we did that last time? At that particular time, we had 2,116 tons of concrete and asphalt that were ground up that saved us on cost, because it gets pretty expensive hauling in them semis. This is representing the ditches and the spraying. What spring weather does when you get rain, the grass grows and grows and grows, and it's a never-ending story. We have a contractor that we hire to come in, and he sprays a lot of the big ditches. We'll have him come in twice, sometime in the springtime, sometime in latter summer, I think it is. It kind of just helps on our cutting time. The safety grant that was applied for a couple of years back has actually been completed. This is right across the street from Geo Bailey School, leading down to the trailer parks on Fair Lake Road. Yeah. Yeah, it's just west of.
There was a Safe Routes to School grant.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go down Fletcher Road all the way to Bowling Road. We had a conflict with a water line out there. Yeah. DOT wanted us to pay to relocate the water line. We said, no, it's your grant, you're handling it, you pay for it. They said no, and then defunded it.
And at the complex itself, which falls under Chuck, but we helped, our street department helped tear down the old fence, and the contractor come back in, putting up the new fence, and then we helped kind of realign that side road beside the fence.
That's the one that's right near the railroad, or is it the other side, or the back end?
It's on the side beside the big ditch.
Yeah.
It's on the south side. We're keeping our mowers in our buyback program, hopefully, so that we can keep them from mowing. Traffic department itself, like I said, consists of 7 different employees, but not only do they maintain these traffic lights,
but they do all the street paint, the street signs, the banners that go up and down, they're very, very time consuming. That same department actually does all the maintenance on Fullwood Park, the detention areas, the exits, the smaller parks, and some of the, the tree maintenance and the cutting. The park itself is in full swing with weather being prettier outside. We got bookings coming in left and right. Our amounts last year, I think we had 564, and we're about 575 plus reservations for the park. One thing that has actually increased on the schools are bringing the kids in, they're coming over to the theater, a player something that they do, and then they're bringing the kids over to the park, kind of run off energy. Of course, and they are the major part of the Christmas decorations at the park and downtown. And that would be it. Any questions?
We have also, saw the 5 positions that were vacant in there. Yeah. We're gonna fund those positions this year. Probably like that, Chris, you were out, we did, had 5 attempts.
Yeah,
From summer work?
Yeah, I heard.
Those positions gonna be some, just,
No, sir, this has been full-time positions.
okay.
When I left Public Works and came to City Hall, we had 30 employees in the street department alone. That department right now is down to 15. And we offer them jobs, they come out there and do an interview, and we tell them what we're gonna pay, and they say, hey, I can sit home and make that.
Yeah. Hey, Bart, come here.
Couple of accomplishments for the year. Solid waste back in, and that was due to getting the right mechanics and having our scrap metal saved up for the general fund. And my shop guys running at least 80%.
So that one.
Goals this year is get all the down units on good deals, because it's looking like a used car lot back there. And keep providing quality service at a reasonable cost to all departments.
That's on page 7 in the service fund.
Yeah.
This year we had 3 mechanics, which one's been down for about 5 months out of this year with bad knee and then a rotor cuff and a hairline fracture in his arm. As of right now, we're running about $167,530 of the budget, which $177,000 would be 80% for the year. So if y'all get that, the guy that hurt is out now getting surgery, so he's gonna be back, come down to 2 mechanics.
How are you doing?
I'll wait on that, go to the doctor, see what they're gonna do. Other than that, my budget's staying about the same, except increasing the bandwidth and retirement.
Any questions? Thank you, Bart. Thank you. All right, Bart, thank you.
2 minutes. I do have a handout, I don't have a slideshow, just have a simple handout, keep it quick, to the point. Just want to let you know that so far this year we are online with our cases. Our cases run about the same. We'll have a few comments to make about it real quick. Just to let you know, we had no capital projects. We replaced what vehicles we replaced this year with surplus police cars, thank you, Chief. As of yesterday, day before yesterday, we had 862 cases. You see the 763 there. That's how much has gone up in the last month. All the figures you'll see there through end of April. We're expecting somewhere 9 to 950 as a total. We move down to the bottom. Next part of that page is building permits, just to let you know. We right now expect there to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, we probably won't be much over 300 and probably maybe another 10, 15, 20, something like that. There won't be a lot more, but we do expect revenues. Right now, our revenues are currently at a little over 80,000. That's how much we've done. We've got a slow fall
very slow for building. It didn't start last first of the year. It really didn't start with spring. Spring's been really on. You've heard about some of the projects that are coming in lately. We expect to be somewhere between $90,000 and $100,000 in revenue, which is kind of in the middle between the 2 years that we've been here so far, which is really good considering as slow as it was the first half of the year. Things just to point out on the next page, the back page, back to the same sheet that I handed out. We actually have had only 32 review cases. I've got, I think, 2 coming up this month. That probably won't be over 35 for the year. The reason that that's lower is that they're allowing staff to do some of the signs in HPC. I'm sorry, I'm in general fund. I apologize. I was supposed to say that when I walked up. Sorry, Mayor.
No problem.
And also, we do some of the roofs now. If they're a light change roof, they don't require us to go through to get the COA, so it's just speeding things up a little bit. And we should be somewhere around 35 for the year. Just to let you know about the zoning cases that we've done, it gives you a little bit of information that you have about previous years and this year back in. We're probably going to have somewhere around 9. We may have one more that's coming in. I don't know if we'll make it in time to finish before the end of the year. And this includes any kind of rezone or zoning of text amendments or annexations that we've done. Now keep in mind, we did complete 2 annexations this year. They were started the previous year. One was a 60%. That was a really fun task, by the way. And one was 100%. We got them both done. We got the technique down. We got our methodology down. So in the future, when we do it, in fact, I'm working on one now. Everything flows quite well. We did 163 plus new business inspections on new businesses this year. This is not recorded anything here. We have approximately 35 to 40 reconnect inspections that we do for the power company that we do for free. Just keep in mind too that we're going all this with exactly 3.5 employees. That's what we have. We're short 1.5 staff. We did budget for a full position for administrator, but we're waiting to see how that's going to work out with a part-time administrator at this point. We don't know yet. That's something I don't know of yet. We did receive a $1,000 grant, or money was donated to us, actually a grant from the Historical Society last year for signs and brochures. We've got some signs purchased. We've got some more coming, and the signs are for the HBC signs. Ours were quite toasty when we got them. They were wow when we got them. And we're trying to get some new signage done. We got some of them done, getting some more done. We're working on the brochures. Our budget, as far as our budget goes, we really only had one major increase in our budget, and that was in legal. Legal is as legal is. If you're in the business that we're in, you're going to have legal, and legal is expensive. So we had to go up. We ran short this year. Had to move some money around from other places. We can make it up in other places. Next year, we're hoping that with the increase, we should be able to cover it, we hope. And that was what caused the bottom end increase in our budget for this year. We do hope that someday we're able to get our position back. We could really use it. We're stretched extremely thin, especially when it comes to training. It's almost impossible. If anybody's out for leave, like Houston was out this year with the birth of his new child, and for 2 months we had, almost 2 months, we're out of code officers, so we all had to pitch in and cover different areas. And that's the problem we have, is it makes it very difficult when we're very short staffed to have any time to catch up on leave or anything else.
So that makes you cross-trained in that, right?
Yes, sir. We are cross-trained across the board, all employees. We're working on the building side of it, getting cross-trained on the building side of it. We're cross-trained on the code enforcement side. Yes, sir. Any questions? No.
Y'all just got 4 employees right now?
No, sir. Well, we have 3.5. We have 4 bodies, 3.5. Right. That's true.
3.5.
So who's half? Judy's only half.
Too short.
Any other questions?
I was going to review it, but the gasoline increase seems pretty high too.
Well, what happened with that, we originally had that original gasoline amount, and we had to pull money out of gasoline this year in order to fund legal, and that's where it went. We had to move money, transfer money out of that to fund legal. So our legal is quite high, as you can only imagine. So what happened, we went back to the original budget amount for last year. That's the original, it didn't change, although it did, because we had moved money out to cover another area. So that was the change. I don't expect it to be that high, but that's usually where if we have a short run, that's where it comes from.
And when you, that's a good point. When you look at these budgets and you look at the actual expenditures in those departments, if we need to fund another area like Bert had to do with legal, if you see a huge decrease, it's probably because we've authorized the transfer of funds from one line item to another. And you're gonna see that a lot in the fire department budget.
I'd rather just do a budget amendment than add more to the gas fund and rob that, and pay for legal. Let's just call it what it is, and let people know we gotta spend more money on legal for code enforcement, instead of hiding it as gasoline. Can we do that from now on?
That's hiding.
Okay. Well,
That's up to the
yes.
county. I mean, that's
Where you got it from.
We can do that.
Just saying.
I understand. We can do that when we do the budget conditions.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bert. All right, Chief, doing good.
Hi, where's the picture? I learned how to do this at the library. Yes. Okay, before I get started on the budget portion, I have a lengthy activity report here, but I do one of these every year. You don't always see it, you don't always request it, or you need to want to or whatever, but I prepare them. So this was prepared back the first of the year. I left it intact. So I'm gonna run through it quickly. If you see something on there that jumps out at you and you wanna talk about it, I'll be glad to do so.
This is calendar year.
Yes, and also, we traditionally, in the fire department, we do our activity reports based on a calendar year. The reason being all the agencies we report to, state and federal law, we report to them by calendar. Run stats and all that, they compile, that ultimately end up with the National Fire Academy. Okay. Here's our mission and vision statements. They're pretty self-explanatory. I won't dwell on them. They're typical of most of those type statements. Our staff, we have 33 firefighters, 5 administrators. We have a EVT, emergency vehicle technician. We have 8 volunteer groups that run between total 80 to 100. Karen probably knows what our roster is this year. I didn't count them when I submitted them to you, but typically we have total membership in our department, counting paid and career people, 133 plus.
This budget's on page 9 in the general fund.
Right.
Those volunteers also include some PD officers, sheriff's officers, and all that participate in our dive rescue team, and some folks from the EMS.
Is there any certification on people that go out to the volunteer firefighters?
Not anything needed.
There's been some laws that came down, you could go over to the sheriff's department, you could be an auxiliary deputy, but now you gotta go through a 6-week course. I don't know if that is translated back.
No, if anything, the fire service has regressed on that.
Okay.
And have left it up to the locals.
Good.
We have not backed off of it.
Good.
We have plenty of volunteers that are not firefighter one certified, but they're not allowed to fight fire either. And we have a lot of them that are firefighter one certified, who get the gear and the radio and stuff, and they can go into what we call the hospital.
Super.
But we haven't lowered our standard level.
Good.
These are calls for service. You can see that 2011 was a atypical year. Usually we run anywhere from 1,300 to 1,350 calls. The average for those 3 years was around 1,400, but calls up to 1,692, and that was a very dry year, and we had some bad weather too. So there's no really rhyme or reason to the number of calls or the number of actual fire calls, except to say this: weather, duration of the winter, the harshness of the winter months, they typically have some influence on it. Drier seasons, we have more brush fires, we have more calls. So that's usually how that happens. You can see an average number of calls per day was really high in 2011, but again stays around 3 to 4 calls. This is a further breakdown of type fires. Typically, our structure fires are only 5 to 7% of our total calls. And the fires are usually less than 20% of the total cost altogether. So, we'd like to be for lower than that, really.
If we had God forbid, we had a catastrophe that happened in Canada where tank cars exploded and stuff like that. How far out would that blow our budget? And I'm talking about catastrophic event.
And how would that relate to the budget?
I mean, how far would that blow the budget out? I mean, we got a budget, but we're gonna have a lot of overtime and
Oh, yeah,
a
well,
long time.
you're talking about something like what happened in Canada, but
Yeah.
probably 2 or 3 times, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've got a contingency, we don't have anything to cover that.
Well, you also have to consider that we have to call in outside agencies, and we would, and if we, something like you're talking about, GEMA and FEMA would be on the body.
That's right.
And they would call in outside agencies. Now,
That's
how those agencies are reimbursed, whether it's through FEMA, GEMA, City of Tifton, or Tift County, is another consideration. And there's no way we can know.
Probably the GM thing was that good, so catastrophic. I thought-
That's what the NIMS training is all about, and I'll
That's
get
right.
that in just a moment. There's the instance by district. Typically, we run the county, including no big and tie about 40% of the calls here, 38, 42% of the years. There's the areas of fire origin. These are the areas that are most likely that fires occur in. The National Fire Association and NIPRS, National Fire Incident Reporting System. These are categories they broke down for us. This is not an exhaustive list, but ours is typical percentage-wise of the national trend. In other words, most fires occur in Gitchner, and most fires are residential. And that's typical of the country. Average response time, we have some goals set, which is set really by ISO and NFPA, 12 minutes countywide and 5 minutes in the city. We met that every year that I can recall, and by a great deal most of the time. Overall, between the city and the county, we're able to respond under 6 minutes. You can see within the city, a lot of times railroad track gives us 50. Hence the West Side Station. Hence the need to staff it as soon as we possibly can. No.
Okay, Mike, let's go there for a minute.
Okay.
To fully staff the West Side Station, or to staff it just during the most, frequent times the fires will occur, how many people would you have to go with?
No less than 3.
So you could staff West Side Station with 3 people.
Well, excuse me, per shift, 9.
So you need 9 people.
Then if we had somebody out, we could maintain a 2 in and 2 out. And that's standard for the fire service. In other words, we now have 11 people per shift. To maintain a 2-man in, 2-man out rule, 2 of the people per shift could be off taking vacation leave. Which leaves us a minimum staffing of 9. To maintain that same ratio, we would have to staff the West Side Station with 9 people altogether working 3 shifts, which means if any one shift was down 1 person, we'd staff have a minimum of 2. So that's, and that's throughout fire service, that's the way it works.
So you're talking about $270,000 in salaries. I'm ballparking this thing now. It's about $30,000 per firefighter, and then that's another 50% on top of that for benefits. That's what it would take to staff that station. I don't know if that's something that council wants to, looking down the road, if that's something where you want to go with it. That's the numbers that you're gonna be dealing with to staff.
Well, we need staff. We built it.
Yeah.
We
Well,
need staff.
right now, the plan is to use it as a volunteer station.
Presently, I don't mean to interrupt, but presently, we have, you all have allowed the funding, during the budget adjustment for us to get that parking lot and that yard fixed so we can use that station. So then we can keep it up. Our city volunteers in there, very active group. They're kind of the Navy SEAL team of the fire service around here. They're a little higher trained than most of our, because they have the time. That's not knocking any other volunteers we have, but a little more specialized training, and I feel comfortable with them staffing that station and running the city hall.
Would you ask us again about that? We have a chance to discuss this among the council, about whether to staff that or not.
Sure, I mean.
We will discuss this again in
June
June.
2nd, we're gonna present a proposed budget to you, so we're really gonna consider staffing that West Side Station. We're gonna have an opportunity to talk to each other, between now and when, Lois?
Can you send out a memo to all 5 of us? We probably need to talk. If it's nothing to consensus, which is legal, we need to talk about it. And give us your guidance. You're the chief.
Well, we can look at it and we can tell you whether or not we can afford it right now. That's the reason it hasn't been funded before.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, this is a 5-year look at total incidents, just an extension of one we've already looked at. Year to date, it's about the same. We've had a little increase in calls for service over this time last year. Nothing too drastic jumps out there. This is our training hours. We do this every year, all kind of training. The days of checkers and washing trucks and doing whatever around the firehouse have been long gone. There are times of the year when we have some downtime for the holiday season and all. Typically our call volume increases in. By then we've got our training down and all that sort of stuff. But these guys train hard, both career and volunteer. They train daily. There's some of our training goals. These are mandated by ISO and the state, a combination of the two. Firefighters Pension Fund is something that the city contributes to for the career guys. We also pay the volunteer guys for their calls and meetings, and they in turn use those funds to pay the pension dues for their members. It's a win-win. A minute ago I mentioned NIMS. That's the National Incident Management System. Most of you are familiar with the term, but it's developed through Homeland Security, promulgated and administered through FEMA. It's basically a catastrophic event training. What would you do? What role would you play in it, depending on who you are? First responders, key management personnel, anybody that would be involved with infrastructure, utilities, public works, gas department. Everybody's required to get a certain level of that. And this past year, in 2013, both management and council received the latest training. I know fire and some police officers updated theirs a little bit. But everybody's intact on that. What's important about that, not just the obvious, but to qualify for a lot of grant funding, stuff like that through the government, we have to have this kind of training. And we're in good stead there. We hope to add to our apparatus fleet. By this time next month, we should have 2 2,500-gallon tankers delivered from Ocala for E1 that you all approved the purchase of under SPLOST 4. So we will add to this. Our inspections of smoke detectors. Overall, our fire prevention program's in good shape. Danny Wallace, Jimmy Stone, our prior inspector, and now Danny Wallace have done a fantastic job. We have a smoke detector program that we give them out for free. We purchase those with donated money. We go out to schools, businesses, on request, and we do this almost daily. You know, there used to be just a fire prevention week, then it turned into a month, but here in Tifton County it happens all year. I mean, even in the summer, especially during the school months, but we're constantly going out and doing training and public education to schools, assisted living, whatever, on request. And I don't know that we've ever denied one for any reason. Sometimes we're a little late because of call volume or manpower, but we always get there. And the public really appreciates it. 2013, we completed our training. We met our ISO and NFPA state mandated requirements. If you recall, we had a FEMA grant in the amount of $468,000 some odd dollars that we purchased new SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. We've gotten those distributed, both in the county and here in the city. Some of the goals for 2014 calendar year, the West Side Station we just spoke of. We are about to begin construction of the Chula Fire Station, provided we enter into negotiations with Tucker Brothers, as we discussed in the workshop the other night. The delivery of 2 tankers, upgrade the building at the training grounds, we do some repairs out there. That'll be included in my budget presentation, and continue to do things we do every year. I will mention that you may have seen in the paper, we have a young lady that's volunteered, daughter of a volunteer, every year she does a water and Gatorade drive. She's doing that again this year, and believe me, it helps. Believe me, it helps. We've even been able to help out the senior center from time to time when they need stuff like that. That's all through donations. And we've recently just completed a Burn Foundation boot drive. We participated in. That was coordinated by Captain Ricky Norton. Not sure if the money's figures are in, but I think somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 we raised just for a half a day out of Walmart. Budget request. This is the biggest request we're making, and it's really justified. I've got it written out here, but we have, at least in previous years, never been able to hold to our overtime and call-in pay line item. We have a salary line item, and we have overtime calling. We've always exceeded that. We've already exceeded it for this fiscal year by $35,000. Now, there's two things that bother me about that. It's not just the over the budget thing, but we got guys that are coming in and being called in after they've worked 2 days with whatever type of call volume. They're asked to work another day or two. They get tired. They miss a lot of their home life. It's not good for morale. And used to, everybody wanted to do it. Now hardly anybody wants to do it. Our pool of guys that are full-time, they also have other jobs, and they sometimes can't. So I really believe that if managed properly, if we're allowed to fill some part-time positions with this increase, we can hold the line or even decrease our overtime or call-in pay. And overtime save money and increase safety, protection of our guys. The rest of these increases that I've asked for specifically are based strictly on use. There's not a single one of them that'll have any money left in it this time next month. Not one. We're below 1% or 2% on every one of them. In fact, some of them I've already had to do the budget transfers Larry spoke to even keep them alive, so I can even PO them. We've been really slim and trim and lean in the last couple of years, and I think we're getting a little too lean. I don't think this is not the budget I would wish to have that I'm telling you about today. I think it's a good budget, but it's not moving us forward. I'm just being honest. That's why we're having to do the budget. That's why everybody's had to do the budget transfers. It's been tight for everybody, and we've held the line. We can't back up anymore, folks. I just don't think we can afford it. We can't take that chance. Some of these increases is nobody's fault. They just are what they are. I would like to say a couple things about this right here. This is some capital outlay projects, not all of which is entirely voluntary. P25 radio system is, Buddy could probably address that better than me. He's a lot more informed about it. But this is the newest technology that's come on the scene. And the best I can understand, you correct me, Chief, is this is what's out there to bring us up to the standard throughout the country. It is the best. And as far as timeliness, the county with a 911 system, building a new 911 center and the new equipment and console that they're going to install, has prompted them to switch to this new radio system, which is not a bad decision. It's not a bad decision at all. It's kind of like Texas Instrument watches. You know, when they first came out, how expensive they were, and then the cost went down, and then disappeared. Technology got better. Same thing with radio. But the timing is that they're going to be doing it by the end of July this year, putting the new system online. And we've been able to this point flash or upgrade the radios that we presently use to be compatible with this new system that they're putting in. But there will come a time that the radios that we now use will no longer be serviceable. Their livelihood or their lifespan is finite. Motorola, either through attrition or Motorola will no longer technically support these older radios. Hence, we're now trying to fund ahead of time the radios we will eventually have to purchase.
They're not making the parts for the radios we have now.
They are?
They're not.
They're not. Okay, they've already stopped that, so to my point. So this is something that's on the horizon. $100,000 just for our department is not going to get it. If we purchased every radio that this new system is going to require us to have tomorrow, it'd be closer to $600,000 for the fire department alone.
This is a capital project, we spread it out over 5 years, so if we think we can get 5 more years of life out of this radio. Oh, 4 more, I'm sorry. It was 5 when we first started talking about it.
So that 100,000, that bottom line 121,000 cap outlay project is that, and I'm not saying it's anybody's fault or it's a bad thing, but just in the way of explanation, that's why the capital outlay is so high this year. And will continue to be so if we fund these new radios. And if we're going to do it, and I don't know any other way around it, if it's going to be done, it needs to be spread out. It just won't hurt it bad. But that's your fault. Have some other things on there. minimal. Storage building repair, we had a building damage, storm damage out of the training grounds. We'd really like to get that fixed, use that building a lot. These are some decreases that happened because of your good work and other things. Retirement came down for us like it did for everybody, tele-debt service, all that. And I thought I would use this opportunity to give us some part-time help hired since all this came up. Net change from last fiscal year is no more than $64,324. That's our total budget. But that increase is really less than 2.15%. And of that 2.15%, less than 0.5% of that is actually to buy stuff we put our hands on and use. The rest of it's due to other factors. So I beg of you to give us what we need, please. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Good job. Thank you. Oh, can I share something with you? Here's some photos. Last December, we had a fallen firefighter, and I'm sorry, I should remember this. I apologize. Fallen firefighter in Waycross was transported to northern Alabama for burial. Our guys wanted to do something. We spent 2 days along with Adam Story with the police department, and we coordinated this thing so that we could have a flag draped over 82 when he came through. So these are just a few photographs. They don't do it justice. Councilwoman Smith was there. Some of you, the rest of you may have been. But our guys worked hard to put this together, and it was we did his memory proud, and we did the city of Tifton proud. Some of the guys. That's B shift. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
After all that, I don't think y'all will give me any money, we can give it all to him. Yes. You don't need it. I got it. Prepare to be amazed. I already am. I worked hard on that. I covered it from last year. Show me how to do that. All right, give you kind of a State of the Union thing here. Part 1 crimes are up from 2012, and when I do my statistics, I also do them by calendar year because I can't do them by the budget year because the budget year is not over yet. They're about 85, not a real big amount. That's a fairly relatively small fluctuation. Our arrests, as you can see, are down. Felony arrest, misdemeanor arrest, drug arrest, total arrest, they're all down a significant amount. Traffic citations from 2012 to 2013 are less than half. Our speeding is about half what it was. DUIs about half what they were. But there is some good news to that. The last half of last year, we wrote like 2,000 tickets. We've already wrote 3,000 tickets in the 4 months this year. So things are looking up. We're getting back on track. I'm also going to do Beth's part of her budget, municipal court. As you know, municipal court handles, adjudicates cases from the police department, the ABAC police department, and the city of Tifton code enforcement. Their budget 2014 was $235,000. They're asking this year for $247,000, which is an increase of $12,523. Salaries, group health, retirement, that's where the increase comes from. In 2012, they adjudicated 9,984 cases to the tune of $1.5 million. 2013, they adjudicated 5,123, and they collected $1,059,000. You can see that's a decrease of 4,800 cases and almost $500,000 in money they collected. Again, calendar year. Jail costs, our jail costs would have been $244,000. We have a contract with the sheriff's office. They do not charge us for the first 3 hours. If somebody gets arrested and bonds out in 3 hours, they do not charge us that $43.50 a day. We say $27,622 there. The leg monitor we have with professional court services saves us another $22,000. They're placed on house arrest. That's $15 a day compared to the $43.50. So we saved about $50,000 through those programs. Current manpower issues, we have 51 sworn positions. Administrative, CID, school resource officers, transportation unit, ship members, 34. Right now, we're working without 10 of those people. We have 8 vacancies. One is medical leave. We had a guy 3 or 4 weeks ago was chasing a shoplifter for that killed his tendon, I believe, and he's going to be out for a while. Have any ideas? We have one that just got shipped off for, the paper said 400 days, so she'll be gone for a year or so. Grants, this is how we try to recoup some of this money. 2011, y'all familiar with the JAG grant, the Justice Advocacy Grant. 2011 was $29,000, 2012 was $26,000, 2013 was $13,000. This year, the grant is down to $13,006. We applied for that Monday. Bulletproof vests, they last about 5 years. They go out, we have to replace them. We get a grant for that. That pays, it's a match grant, they pay 50% of it. They normally send these grants out every 2 years. They sent one this year within a year. I applied for it, they hadn't shot it down yet, so we'll see what happens. Last year, during the budget, I told you about the grant that would pay for the new intoxicalizer. We got a $9,030 intoxicalizer. It cost us $33. Grant paid for all of it except for that. That project is completed. Our budget, the police department budget, we're looking at an increase of $160,513. Now, in my budget, there are some 66 line items. Of course, I'm not going to go over each one of these line items, but I will show you where the majority of this increase comes from. Part of it is in salaries. Group health insurance went up $119,000. We have a lot of employees. Payroll taxes went up. Retirement went down. Workers' comp went down. Did I skip one here? Oh, the bottom line, that's the one I'm missing. We've added 6 additional part-time positions. Now, none of them filled right now. We have 3 applications for part-time people. We're actually trying to recruit people that have left us and went somewhere else. They come back, we don't have to worry about retraining them. We do have 3 applications. The reason we haven't filled them yet is we have 5 full-time people we're trying to hire, and they're the ones that's taking up our time for the physicals, polygraphs, et cetera, et cetera. When we get those on board, then we go back to working on the part-timers. What Mike was talking about, the T25 upgrade, we've already spent $63,600 just to get our radios upgraded. That's the police department. And FY19, we're going to need to replace all of our radios, and if you look at the price of those radios, the APX is $4,100, but right now they're costing us about $1,800. The APX 6500, which is the mobile, is $3,500. They're like $1,700. Hopefully, in the next 3 or 4 years, they'll come down in price. But as I said, we're not going to have a choice. I mean, the radios are not going to be repairable, and when they go down, they're going to be down. They're not making any parts for them. And we've asked for $125,000 for the next 4 years to put $500,000 in the budget. It's like Mr. Ryan brought a while ago, we had $100,000 for 5 years. Of course, it got cut. So this year, at $125,000 for 4 years, same money. 2015, February, we'll need to do a promotional assessment. When we do promotions, we have a testing procedure we go through. It will be due again. We'll do it in-house, and this is why we'll do it in-house. The GACP told me last Friday that they only wanted $17,600 to do it. Carl Benson, that $11,000 figure is actually 2 years old. We can do it in-house for like $4,500. Now, most of this expense actually comes from the test. We use what we call the Mormac, the Moore McDaniel test, and that's $200 per person. 22 people are eligible to take this promotional assessment, but 22 people won't take it. I mean, you're probably closer to 17 or 18. Everybody does it, trying to get promoted. Police units, this year in the budget, we have for $119,500. Emergency equipment, $51,700. That's a simple 3% increase from last year. I was on the internet last week looking at state bids. State bids look really good, but they expire in August. So I don't know what cars are gonna cost us. So just as a rule of thumb, we try to add 3% of last year's budget per car. That's how I come with this figure. I know the mayor's familiar with this. We're looking at getting an automated license plate reader. Now, that's a whole half a day's training in itself if we had time to get into it. But I think that'll be a good tool we can use. Now I want to talk about our accomplishments. Everybody else is crying for their 15 minutes. I'm gonna brag a little bit. We have our motorized car ordinance, it's back in place. We're currently working on updating the downtown parking ordinance. Hopefully in the next couple of months we can get that taken care of. 2013, I was given a heads up, Mike bragged on his training, so I thought I'd brag on ours. We attended 4,763 hours of training last year. We have 2 officers that have completed the Georgia Command College, and we have 2 that are currently enrolled in the professional management program. That is Detective Jerry York and Farron Yee. Last month, they both earned their master's degree. And to beat Robert out, that's her second one too. She's younger than he is. we're still ahead. We have a parking enforcement officer. Y'all may remember Porter Jackson. He retired detective. He had about 27, 28 years. He's back with us. He's doing a real good job.
Hey, excuse me. That clock, no, go back up one. That this, is that this is where is he limited to? Downtown or where or what? Or just
He is not actually limited, but we asked him to stay downtown because of a golf cart.
Yeah.
We don't want him running to Walmart and get run over on 82.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But he has no limit.
Yeah, like you said, if he go to Walmart, he can get right over 82. But I was gonna like, what's that, 20th Street? Those areas out there, you know, where Wendy's is on 20th Street. What's that? The Shell station out there?
Peach Creek?
Yeah, Peach, yeah, that's a little bit out there, I mean.
Yeah, he wouldn't be out that far. Now, inclement weather days, he gets in the car, he rides to the hospital a lot, we've got a lot of issues up there, but we don't ask him to take the car to all those places. Rifle squad, about 3 weeks ago, there was a group of us got qualified with our rifles. The good looking guy in the middle was in charge of that group.
I bet he's the best shot, too.
Hey, they kidded me about being an old man, I shot the only perfect score.
All right.
I scored on target after that point. The crime suppression unit gets back in place after a couple of months. If you haven't seen these guys, you will.
Chief, I just got a question for that. I rode with those fellas last Friday. They did a great job. They really did, and they were on top of the game. So as soon as the call happened, they swarmed to them. So it's a good unit to have right there.
Yes, it is, and we roll up the shifts to make it happen, but we're hoping that in the long run it pays off. I mean, it's y'all know what it's about. We had it before, we lost it for a year or so. Citations are down by a lot. That group wrote 23% of citations in 2012. We had that bumper year also. They made 67% of drug cases, but they weren't in place last year. Those numbers are down. We got our new charges on the road. Finally, we got the last one on the road, I think, last month. Real slow process. We got them in January, but it took 4 months to get them operational. And near and dear to my heart, they invited us to be on the Tri-County Special Response Team, finally. After all these years, Sheriff Carver made that happen, or him and Jeff Youngblood. We've had guys on there since last September. And since he was so gracious, I decided to include him in my PowerPoint. We have a good working relationship. And if this will work, I have a special tribute.
It
I don't think
won't
it'll
work.
work. It won't work? Well, I hate that.
It's not here.
I had hell bell just for you. That's it.
I rushed through it. Question? Anything? I'll pick the other for later. All right.
I'm gonna put HR in there, but you go ahead.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and do HR.
Okay.
Good job, Chief.
There you go, does a good job.
100 miles an hour. That was a good shot. Well, I found not that
Taking over. Did you guys say he not here? He not here.
Special revenue.
Special revenue.
Special revenue fund. Second.
Should be 34.
Go to the second page. There is. At the bottom. It's that Department of Health.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all might recall that
Special
Keep
revenue.
It Beautiful operated for many years, first operating under the city, then operating under the county, then we brought it back into the city again, and it was all paid for out of the recycling program. Due to some events that came up and the funding being questionable since recycling may or may not be here anymore. We met with Keep It Beautiful Board, and they had some issues that they wanted to address, primarily liability issues. So we've taken Keep It Beautiful into the city, and we made it a separate fund unto itself in the special revenue funds. The reason we did that is because we're now through Houston, we're managing that checkbook. It was, remember we had all those checking accounts, some of them we knew about, some of them we didn't know about, they were all accounted for now. Some of them have been closed, they no longer exist. And the Keep It Beautiful is now gonna be managed just like any other department, and we will manage those checkbooks for them and monitor those. They have another issue that they need to deal with, which is the Stephen Waller Foundation, and I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit or not, but that Stephen Waller Foundation is no longer a legitimate business or LLC nonprofit, and they have funding in there that they're gonna have to do something with. We've spoken to the lawyers. We know how to decommission it, if you will, and how they have to disperse those funds, but that's not the city's problem. We do not own the Stephen Waller Foundation nonprofit. That is not ours. The checkbook for them is ours. Having said that, it's all yours, Dave.
Okay, thank you. Keep It Beautiful, I'll refer to it as KTB. Most of you know what that is. I know that the mayor's been out there a number of times picking up trash with us, and Mr. Terrell's also been out there. Our main mission at the board is to implement all the steps of Keep America Beautiful and Keep Georgia Beautiful as far as the reduction in the litter in Tift County. Some of the things that we encourage are the planting of shrubs, flowers, trees, different things like that, to stimulate the interest in conservation and recycling. And what I think is probably the most important thing is that we go out to the community and we teach the kids about litter, conservation, recycling, and beautification. The Stephen Waller that Mr. Reiner brought up, the board had a vote last night, and that money is going to be spent on the supplies that was originally intended by a grant. So that money will be taken care of, and that account will be closed, and we're looking to do that within 30 days. So there shouldn't be an issue with that. Some of the things I like to say that we do, this is a board that doesn't just sit back and do nothing. This is the get out there, pick up trash, get dirty, plant trees, plant flowers, the gardens in front of the city, the 3 flower pots. Keep It Beautiful does that. That and the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts joined up. We conduct the e-cycle event where we get a couple 100,000 pounds of recyclables over the years and keep it out of your landfill, and it all gets recycled. We participate in the Ag Awareness Day out of NESPOW, where you're dealing with anywhere from 3rd to 5th graders, teaching them about recycling, about just keeping everything beautiful and clean and not littering, teaching them at that age, and they take it back home to their parents. Keep It Beautiful is also in charge of all of the adopt-a-miles that Tift County has. Currently, we have 14 active. There are some of those that are inactive that we're trying to get reactivated. Keep Tift Beautiful also does, we apply for a lot of grants. We don't get a whole lot of them, but we do get a number of them. We've had the 7-7 grant, we've done the cigarette litter prevention grant, and the Walmart litter prevention grant. So that's kind of what we do. And as Mr. Reiner said, this money has been coming from Mr. Hobby ever since I can remember, but we're trying to set it up on its own, and we're requesting the $16,883, and this will be the first year. And you should have a copy of it, so if you have any questions about the actual budget, if I can answer them, I'll be happy.
And this funding source for this is hotel fund. Is this to keep the streets and making ways into the city? Let's put it.
Who are the salaries going to?
The salary's just me.
Who does this extra hours?
So it's extra overtime that you receive?
Well, it's not all extra overtime. Mr. Crow works with me as far as to be able to try to move around my time so it isn't charged overtime unless it's just absolutely necessary, depending on our workload.
It's charged at straight time, but it's not over 40 hours.
What type of advertising you plan to do?
The advertising, we're looking to do banners over top, and we talked to Public Works and Mr. Danny, and they've agreed to move our banners around once we have them made. The board has looked at doing like monument signs. We were actually talking to Ms. Lucretia's group to help beautify some of their areas, but that fell through. But there's a bunch of different things that they've looked at as far as that. The paper, the newspaper, we used to be able to go and have them bring one for the chipper event for free. Well, we can't get things for free anymore, so we're going to have to start buying some spots other than the agenda item on the newspaper.
Okay.
So all that stuff is costly.
Let's talk about the Rover.
Yeah, the Rover, it is the back of a semi that's been done up. It was donated years and years ago. That's what we go to NESPOW with. That's what we go to JT Ready with. And we go there, the kids come through there, we get them motivated, pumped up. They leave there and taking that home to start recycling. And there's a cost to keeping that thing going. And previously, like Mr. Ryan said, it was Mr. Rick has been paying these cents for that.
What type of training do you anticipate doing?
Well, the only training we've been able to do so far is Keep Georgia Beautiful has came down here. All the volunteers put some money together and went around and asked for donations from like Subway and things to help feed everybody. And the other KTB affiliates, other like Keep Thomasville, I think Colquitt County came, and they came down and gave a little bit of presentations. But what we're looking to do is every year they have an annual conference and an annual training, and some of the members, if at all possible, would like to do that instead of paying for themselves. They think they need to be able to get the same training. Any other questions?
I think y'all did a good job. Who's the chairman this year?
The chairman is Ms. Mary Mallow.
I believe that's someone was chairman either last year or the year before.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, yes, sir.
Yeah.
He was chairman for just a brief
Mary
stay.
Mallow?
Sir?
Who?
Mallow.
Mallow? Mary Mallow? You know, probably needs to come to the city council meeting, I would say every quarter, but maybe twice a year, just to be seen, to keep it out in front of the public, keep it beautiful. We want public buy-in. Okay.
Absolutely, that's what we plan to do with some of this advertising.
That's right.
It has been nil, and we really need that to get out.
That's why I say come to one of the public meetings, get fed, people will see it.
Yes, sir.
Light up some heads.
I will say that Mr. Hetzel and a couple of the others will go to Kiwanis. You've probably seen them there. They've got up and speaking and talked about it. So they're out there, but it's just, we need a lot more.
Good deal. Thank you.
Services, facility service fund, page 4.
Ready?
5:10, start.
Okay. Some of our accomplishments for 2014, you all know a few years back we moved our 457 defined benefit plan from ICMA to Aluminium Barnes. We now have 66 participants in that. That is only actually up from one last year. However, as we smart source to ESG, our employees that go with them roll over there. And so even with several employees rolling theirs over into ESGs, we still have a net gain of 1. Last year we had a health and benefit fair in conjunction with our annual safety award lunch. We've had 52 hours of training for myself and Roberta. That includes workers' comp, healthcare reform, personnel liability. The majority of that is free training through GMA and local government risk management. Every year we have a wellness program. This year and every other year we do labs only. In the opposite years we have health risk assessments. And from that health risk assessment was 2011, 2013, so we will do that again in 2015. But you can see some of the numbers there. Our smoking has decreased. Blood pressure's increased, so you know, I know we're all under a lot of stress there. We need to get a little bit more maybe de-stressed or something to come up with some ways to lower our blood pressure. But everything else is lowered, so you know, all in all, it looks really good. If our employees participate in this wellness program, they are allowed to go to WorkSmart for $5 for any minor illness or injury, which helps claims because that does not get reported on our insurance claims. And so anytime they can go out there, it's not reported to medical insurance, so hopefully our claims will decrease. We haven't had much luck in the last few years with that. Our 2015 goal, and the number one I wanted to put in, like, needed buddies flashing lights. We need our retirement back. Our employees are really getting antsy. The fire department, you know, I'm talking to a couple of firemen today. They've had maybe 5 leave in the last few months. You know, police, we can't keep police. And those are the guys we really need. I mean, we need all of our employees, but you know, you're talking public safety that are leaving. So, and we're telling them that y'all are working on it. We are, and they're anxious though to hear something. As I talked about the wellness program, you know, we need to find better ways to have our employees healthier. And department heads, if I could kind of get y'all to talk up our wellness program too. As I was looking at 2013's health risk assessment, I saw where we had 12 employees that reported they had high blood pressure, but they are not taking medication. We pay for blood pressure medication. It does not cost them anything. So I don't know why we have 12 people out there that is not taking blood pressure medication. Unless they're not on our health insurance. That could be some of it, but you know, we need to get that word out. I know that costs the city additional money for reimbursements, but you know, if we can pay for blood pressure medication and keep someone from having a stroke,
yeah,
you know, we're saving a lot of money there. So our next safety award lunch will be June the 23rd. So you know, please keep that
25th, my contacts are Lori. Please put that on your calendars, because we would love to have you come. We award each department, they nominate someone for their safety award. And then we will also have Aluminium Barnes there to answer questions for the 457 for employees. And then the UGA salary study.
I'm making sure that doesn't conflict with GMA or anything else, it doesn't.
No, so you'll be back.
You'll be back Monday?
Yes.
Oh, that's,
We'll be back like Tuesday.
okay, good, thanks.
The UGA salary study, we want to do this every 2 years to keep our current in our ordinance, that we keep our pay grades and compensation current. And, you know, we've got to keep our market, we've got to keep up to market to keep our employees staying here. This is just some of the activity. I received the advanced certification for human resource management through GLGPA, which is the Georgia Local Government Personnel Association. Random drug screens, coordinated the flu shots. We are on the Safety Accident Review Committee and Employee Safety Peer Group. A few things we took over from finance this year. We input all new hire information and all benefit elections into GIMS, and we reconcile all monthly insurance bills. We handle all workers' comp claims and settlements and unemployment claims. I did customer service trainings for the police department records clerks. We finalized the last UGA study, which was done at the end of 13. Hometown holidays, the Christmas lunch that is sponsored by Aluminium Barnes. I'm also on the Diversified Enterprises Board and the Finance Committee of that board, Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Group. And of course, study questions on the gamut of things. Roberta and I can go, in a 10-minute span, we can talk on 5 different subjects to 5 different people.
Thank you for keeping that Christmas. So many people want to put season and this type of stuff. We like to see Christmas. And you are on the Diversified Enterprises. I went to that meeting this morning.
Was it this morning?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Third committee to the fourth committee, but I was there. With empty building.
I've done that a few times.
I started to call you and then it started dawning on me, I made a mistake, you really don't work out there. And that's a good board, you do a lot on that board.
Significant budget things, I decreased legal, however, because of probably the COLA and retiree issue, that will have to be mid-year adjusted. Decrease in professional services for WorkSmart. That pays for our sick visits and our annual wellness blood draws and things like that. And as employees are being smart sourced, our employee pool is decreasing, and so we don't need as many. And we've gotten a few years. For the first couple of years, I tried to keep that budget kind of high because I never knew how many employees were really going to use that. But now we've gotten a few years under that, and so I saw where I could decrease that. I think I decreased it a couple of $1,000. And we will increase postage because of the certified letters that will go out to retirees. And that's really it. Any questions?
Seeing none, thank you, Carl. Yeah.
Have fun.
5:20.
Now here comes Lois. And her 4-hour presentation.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, you got all the time in the world. I don't know, about 24 hours.
You'll notice that there's no ending time on this one.
No, I just said it.
And that's how they get you.
You're being partial.
That's right.
And I can.
Yes, you can.
This is the one push.
Right, bud, right. Yes.
And we aren't saying you have a time limit, but we're all trying to leave at 5:35. Whatever you need.
Of course, the purpose of the finance department is to oversee the financial activities for the entire city, including the annual budget that we're talking about today. And as you see, the books that you put in front of you is very detailed and very comprehensive. So I just wanted to mention that.
We do have to stay in compliance with regulations and pronouncements. Some of them are the city code, federal, state, GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles. And that also includes all your pronouncements for GASB as well. Just some of our duties, a highlight of our duties that we perform in the finance department, of course, is the budget prep. And we do try to recommend a balanced budget and all the ongoing changes that are taking place, as we work through this process. We provide alternative financing methods. We coordinate financial efforts among all the departments within the city. We identify financial imbalances. We oversee the audit. As you're aware, we've performed 2 audits in the past 18 months, and we're about to start another one as soon as the budget process is over. So that's just one of our accomplishments. And of course, with both audits, we have a clean audit. We also process bi-weekly payrolls, so we process all the payroll checks for all the city employees, included all the tax reporting, and that's on page 2 in the service fund. Mayor, I see.
Yeah, I'm looking here at page 17, it says financial. What am I supposed to be?
In the service fund on page 2.
What is this back here? Oh, that's all of our funds. Gotcha.
Okay. We also monitor and report the cash flow, and of course, as you process payroll checks, accounts payable, receipts that comes in throughout, for all the city departments. We have a pretty steady cash flow that we balance on a daily basis. We establish and maintain the bank accounts, including those reconciliations, accounts for receipts and disbursements and purchase orders of all those funds. We process invoices, and we report the status of various projects, and also included in the capital improvement program. Just to mention a high level, we have a $10 million capital budget for FY15 that's drafted in this book. We have a $34 million capital improvement program, which is our 5-year plan. And we also have approximately a $20 million O&M budget that we're looking at today. Basically, all the departments, we try to coordinate with the departments and work with them, and what you have talked about and they have talked about today, ultimately, at some point in time, if it's financial, it flows through the finance department. Our organization chart, we have 6 authorized positions, and they're all filled right now. Half of our staff is fairly new to the city, including me. And we have a senior accountant that's been here a little under a year. We have an accountant 1 that's been here 5 months. Our treasury supervisor has been here, and she's our person we go to find out historical information. Karen is here with us today, and I don't know what we would do without her. And of course, we have accounts payable and accounts receivable clerk that helps us out tremendously with a little bit of everything. We perform a team effort in finance. We have to in order to get the work done. As everybody pitches in, and I'm very proud of the staff to pitch in and do what needs to be done. The FY15 budget for the finance department, the changes from FY 2014 is an overall decrease of $119,000. That's primarily due to the, of course, like every other department, the bandwidth of the city net debt and the allocation among the departments and funds that was allocated to. All of that money was transferred from all the various funds into the general fund and was actually paid out of the general fund. So you will see that reduction there, as Mr. Reiner mentioned earlier. We did make some reallocations among the accounts within our department, and our goal is to utilize some of those reallocations for training. We need some additional training with, to improve efficiency. We would like to have some training on Microsoft certification where we can establish macros within our reporting capabilities. Some of the reports that you see in today is from a macro that was downloaded into Excel, and then we set up a macro to actually format it. And formatting takes a lot of time to make it look nice and present to the public. So we are looking at more training in that area. We also want to provide more training through the Carl Vincent Institute of Government. And of course, our overall goal is to utilize the modules within our financial system that we're not utilizing now, and to fully automate more for reporting purposes than anything else. We want to be able to report quicker and have it look nice and be accurate all at the same time. So that's what our goal is. The additional funds that our finance department oversees, you know, are the hotel motel funds, grant funds, along with the assistance from Jessica and the departments, SPOS funds, capital project fund, retirement fund, and special revenue funds. Those are funds that basically we maintain within the finance department. I'm going to go over a couple of these, not all of them, but they are in the book. The hotel motel tax is projected to be $855,000. The average 9-month trend is approximately $72,000 a month. The overall change is $76,000 increase in with the overall fund. The major changes is we've added airport operations, $35,000. Tourism board, we've increased that by $32,000 to comply with the 40% split between the city and the tourism board. The Keep Tiff Beautiful, $50,000, and some of the Keep Tiff Beautiful, they transferred, I believe it was about $960 over to us from that fund. We're utilizing that for them, and we also budgeted for about $1,000 in contributions that we hopefully, you know, they can get some donations through that. We have a contingency that I mentioned earlier of about $45,000 that might can cover some of the items that was discussed earlier.
Right, now, what y'all were seeing in there about the airport operations, that was, we didn't fund that before. I spoke to you, Mayor, about this. The operation of the airport has been taken over by the county, and they've gone through as much as they can all of the books that the airport authority kept, because they were operated under the airport authority, and they reconstructed this, the expenditures that are occurring out there as close as they can. And the county manager asked me about us funding the airport operations 3 ways, and that's the county manager kicking in, or the county kicking in. I think he put $50,000 in his budget. Us putting $35,000 in ours, and the Tiff County Development Authority putting in $35,000. We really do not want to lose or close that airport. That's a big tool that we need to keep, you know, when Target and all these big people that have their aircraft coming here. That's a gateway, and not only that, but we spent, was it almost $2 million out there redoing that terminal? So.
Well, the extension of we're still working. Still in that.
They're getting grants for that, but what's out there now, 5,500 feet?
Yes, but the total for that renovation is about 4.3 million.
Yeah, but we're not paying for all of them.
Yeah, it's 5,500 feet.
Yeah, but there was $750,000 in SPOS money that was set aside for the airport, not for operations, but the extension. And they're still looking at going to 6,000 feet. That was the last I heard anyway.
Not sure.
52, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Whatever it was, you could land at 727.
Good. UPS trucks.
Yeah.
Plane.
So That's new, it's not something we funded before, we quit funding them actually.
Well, this is good because we need it.
I just wanna make sure that we had y'all's approval to.
When did we stop funding it?
About 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When Mike was here, we quit funding. It was like a hell on the board, and, you know, the county kind of beefed it up. That's the city and the county, but it really is. I mean, what would we do without our airport?
Exactly.
We gotta have a good transportation, you know, to recruit people and then people come in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why that 35,000 is in the budget this year. And earlier today, I think maybe it may have got out, but they were talking about using, participating with the chamber, ABAC, and tourism, with the communications guy that's over at the chamber, Chris Becker.
Yeah.
Adding 15,000 to the budget to utilize them to advertise city stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
But it would have to come out of that 45,000 contingency.
Okay. I want that.
I mean, is that something we can plan on?
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless there's any other cuts or something.
Yeah.
I see you over there with your pencil, it always scares me when you start working about
A
peon.
lot of ink.
I'm going to talk just a little bit about the SPOS 4 and SPOS 5 fund, just to give you an update. On SPOS 4, we were utilizing funds carried forward. Of course, those dollars we've stopped collecting from SPOS 4, and these are funds that we already have. 1.359 million in funds carried forward to fund the 50 budget. That's the CERTA GTIP grant, 500,000 that we didn't get, and we're not awarded, and we just found out about that late yesterday afternoon, so that will come back off. And the FY 2015 capital budget is the 1.359, and those projects is what consists of that number. You've got MIS GIS technology improvement that Stephen talked about of 179,000, fire equipment and facilities of 225,000, which is Mike, you talked about that one. The street drainage, 725,000, sewer system improvements, 340, recycling, 30,000, senior center expansion, 360, and of course, the grand total with the 500 would be the 1.8, which that will come back down to 1.3. So, and these funds are available, they're there. We will reevaluate this at mid-year revision to see exactly how many dollars were used in 14, because we're not quite there yet. We've got some monies allocated out to the projects in 14, and what status completed, then we'll know exactly where we stand on SPOS 4 as far as what the remaining dollars are. We do have a couple of extra years in our 5-year plan for the continuation of a few projects that will take up part of it as well.
They always say you don't ever get 100% of it, but if we get 80, 85, 90, 95, that's good.
Yes. And I believe on SPOS 4, we did receive somewhere around 83%.
Right.
I believe is what our number was.
Yep.
If I'm remembering correctly. On SPOS 5, we've had 13 months of collections. We've collected 4.2 million. Our average monthly collection is 280,000. We've projected to the end of fiscal year 14 receiving another 841,000 based on that average collection. We've projected for 15 a $3.364 million revenues from SPOS collections. We have a LMIG grant of 168,000 that is part of one of the SPOS 5 projects, which we've included. The projects included in that, of course, is to finalize the Telegeo debt payoff in 15, and that will close if collections continue to come in as we have them now. That should close that debt and it'll be finally paid off. So that is the goal there. Fire equipment and facilities, 96,000. That's 96,000 is the local match of the FEMA ladder truck grant.
Yes, which is still pending.
It's still pending, but we do have it in the budget.
That's almost $1 million piece of equipment.
Yes, sorely needed to.
Water and sewer capital outlay, 290,000, road street drainage projects, 1,114. And all of these, you will see in your book, under your capital outlay, under each department, you will see the list of projects. There's a summary at the beginning of each tab under the capital project category, and you will see what makes up these these numbers. We do have a contingency of $2,576,000 with that revenue projection. We have put that in a contingency pending the collections coming in, and also pending our water and sewer study that we want to do to see what our plan, going forward for water and sewer is. And the majority of that is joint funded, which would have to be used for water sewer projects and fire projects.
Now, what percentage is that figure for the SPOS 4?
Percentage of
You're talking about collections?
collections.
No, the collections on.
We're using 80% of them. On 4?
On
Yeah.
5. This is
On 4, what's the total? What's the percentage total we received?
83% was on 4. That
87?
we have received for collections.
87%? So that's based on 87 up there?
83% was the SPOS 4.
How much is 5?
How much is 5?
You know,
It's 17% under projections. 83% is.
Yeah, we need to be a little bit slow, SPOS 5.
Lois, I noticed you don't have a senior center up there.
Yeah.
Is that included lump sum somewhere else?
It's in the plan. This is only the 15 budget.
Well, that would be your 15 budget.
It is, we're not anticipating using those funds
Are we
until
using the
FY
CD,
16.
we're using the CDBG for that, and then 16 the balance?
Pick it up, yeah.
Okay.
We're using 4, we had it in 4. We're using 4 in other funds before we kick into 5.
Okay.
But
do we need to have it in there just in case? You know?
Not in 15, we have it in fiscal year 16.
We've got 3
Oh,
months of money
okay,
for
that's
that.
right.
4 and 5.
4, 5, and
2 years.
CDBG.
Right.
So we're gonna use 4, CDBG, and then 5. Okay.
We're
Thank you.
delaying as much as 5 as possible in order to retire that debt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. You gonna stay with us another 5 years? You gonna be here another 5 years?
If I will.
I would like to write that down. I heard it.
I would like to say, customer service in that department.
It's outstanding.
Amen.
Yay.